Alrighty, everybody, welcome back. This is session 2 of day 2 of the 2025 USA Powerlifting Collegiate National Championships. We are here in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma today with a collection of the nation's finest collegiate lifters who are going to both compete today for individual and team glory. We'll have to wait until the end of the session to see who comes out with those individual titles and the end of the weekend for those final team scorings. My name is Tia. I've been commentator the last couple sessions, and I'm happy to be here again with you today.
Hey, I'm Bryce. I'll be joining you for the first part. Happy to join Tia and watch some lifting here with you all.
Strong opener for Nevaeh Ostbauer on platform 4. In today's session, we're going to be treated to only raw athletes, actually, in this second session, with the female weight class of 70 kilos and the men's weight class of 75 and under.
Danny Thompson coming out on platform 1. Guest lifter just missed her weight class by a teeny bit. It is tough. It's a difficult thing to try to make weight. 67.5 kilos the weight. Can happen for all kinds of reasons. Travel, sodium levels, electrolyte balance, water intake.
Actually, I don't know that she missed weight for Danny Thompson because but they're in the 70 kilogram class and she weighed in at 68.
Oh, interesting. I'm not sure why she's a guest then.
She may have, no, I don't know, not sure.
All right. Well, here comes Ellie Duca on platform, Ellie just went. Eric Pham, the next lifter on platform 2. 202.5 kilos getting loaded on the bar, coming all the way from San Jose State University.
And over on platform 3, we're going to have a 125 opener from Marianne. Nice little opener to be able to open with those 2 reds.
Oh, sticky opener for Zoe Mello. Hopefully she's able to correct whatever happened on that one and come out and make that on her second. Start command and execution for Eric Pham. Hoping he got depth on that. Looked a little bit high from the front. Yeah, 3 reds for that. Easy correction for Eric.
Marianne looks to be a taller lifter, so sometimes they can struggle on squat, but she's opening with 125, so let's see it.
Olivia from UMass. She has 30 seconds to fix her wrist wrap. She's actually supposed to step off the platform for some strange and mystical reason. It really doesn't make a difference to me.
Yeah, they make you stand off the platform, so a difference of like 3 feet, but.
She needs to hurry, though. She has only 16 seconds left. She needs a sense of urgency here to get under this bar. She has to walk it out and get her start command. Meanwhile, Tristan on platform 2 from Islanders. 2 seconds left. She gets the start command there.
Yeah, so you can see those clocks up in the corner. Each athlete will get a minute for each attempt once the bar is called loaded by that head referee. And they have to just get that start command. They do not have to finish the lift within that time frame.
Moving onward, Rebecca Jardine, the next lifter, 112.5 kilos. Fist bumps for Austin and a battle yell as he approaches 205 kilos.
We've got Honora over on platform 4 is going to open with 115 from West Point.
Austin asking for the rack height to be changed, which you can ask, but as soon as they say bar's loaded, your clock is running. Solid squat, Rebecca. 112 in the books. We will see more ahead.
Yeah, and just a note on that rack height there. If Austin had set that when we were doing equipment checks on Wednesday night, they did not have the bars out for rack height check. They had wooden dowels across the racks.
Really?
So a lot of the lifters were struggling to find an accurate rack height just without the weight of that bar and being able to pull on it and settle in a little bit to that position. So it doesn't surprise me that a couple people are going to have them adjust their rack heights.
Yeah, I mean, anything over 120 kilos kind of settles into your back a little bit. It can make, I don't know, an inch difference or more.
The wooden dowels probably weighed like 10 ounces, so it was a little bit hard.
Justin Schlag on platform 2, 205. While Lizzie Welch was asked to re-rack the bar, we'll have to take a look at what they didn't like. Looks fine for her. And she is successful with that.
Yeah.
A lot of lifters here just getting some early experience at the collegiate level. Seeing competition higher than a local level competition. This is a new, bright, and large experience for so many athletes.
Yeah, and of course, all of these athletes did have to qualify to be here. So there was a qualifying total that they needed to achieve. Several of these athletes will actually, or this 70 kilogram class is a new weight class this year. So athletes in the 70 kilogram class could have gotten their qualifying total in the 67.5 that existed last year, or in the 75 as well. The 75 athletes did have that option to go down to the 70. Of course, they have to make weight on the day, so that decision was a big decision. We saw the athletes from that 67.5. Some of them chose to go down to the new cast of 65, which competed this morning, and then about half of them chose to go up to the 70, which is competing right now. And then, of course, we did have a couple drop down from that 75, but less so. And you will get to see that 75 class tonight. That class is stacked. And so we're seeing a lot of good lifts so far today. Not so many red lights, but it's always good to see everybody kind of nab their openers in and get some points on the board, get started.
Yeah. If you guys are watching and see the stream dip out occasionally on platforms 1 and 2, we are battling a poor internet connection, doing our absolute best here. Apologies if we unfortunately miss a lift here and there. We will cover these athletes to the best of our ability as Boston University's Jamie Rodriguez, Ethan Tran step to the bar on platforms 1 and 2.
Fast from Sophia. She comes through the top, almost too powerful a little bit there. She does get those red lights. She is called for depth there. That is what that red flag underneath the red light indicates. And we are moving already onto our second attempts now on platform 4.
Strong from Jamie. I really like his ability to stabilize the bar on that one, making himself and the bar a single unit.
Nevaeh Ostbauer, platform 4. And she gets that nice and easy. Small sticking point in the middle, but doesn't seem to hamper or slow her down too much.
Sain Hassan from University of Toledo. That has to be my favorite university logo that I've seen so far. Just so aesthetic.
It's like a rocket.
Yeah. Just like that squat. Fantastic. I couldn't resist.
Is that their real logo or another fighting chicken scenario?
Right. Owen Reedy, our last opening attempt on platform 1, 215 kilos. Looks good to me. Did he beat the rack command? That is one of those early things. I wonder if he did. He did get 3 reds on that squat.
Yeah, with that yellow light's oftentimes that commands. And that's honestly, beating the rack command is just a little bit of adrenaline and nerves on that first squat right there, because as you saw, it was really easy. So just got to make sure we stay calm and pay attention.
I've done it myself at a national championship.
Yeah, as a lifter, it is a good strategy. Once you receive the rack command, the spotters will actually pull the bar to the rack for you, and you can kind of just follow along with that bar once the spotters start pulling it. So if I was coaching a lifter or making a recommendation, I would tell them to not actually rack the bar and just kind of let the spotters do that for them so that they don't risk missing that command. Kelsey got a nice one, 17.5. It was fast. She was leaning a little bit far forward, so she'll have to be careful about that on her next attempt as it gets a little bit heavier.
Taking a look at Rain Smyers on platform 1, 5 kilo jump up, and 90 kilos is good there. Looks like we were waiting for some lights on platform 2. Saul is credited with 225. And the next 3 lifters on platform 2 will all take 225.
On platform 3, we've got Stella rocking the Team USA singlet, kind of intimidating.
That is a good look.
Yeah. And she's going to walk out 145 for her opener. And that is a solid opener for her. See if the judges liked it. Yes, they did.
And here comes Carrie Prewitz, opening attempt on platform 3, the heaviest squat of that flight. As 2 Friends athletes were just on the platform, on platforms 1 and 2, shout out to Friends University and their supporting crew of friends, family, teammates, everything it takes to bring these lifters here.
Yeah, all these lifters here are competing obviously for their school and for their collegiate teams, so they kind of travel as a group and becomes like a little caravan type situation almost. Everybody's kind of bringing their parents from all over the country, and it's always good to have all the support of your teammates and your family.
Yeah, I mean, not to mention so many of these are club teams who have to fundraise. You know, they're doing fundraisers, they're out doing car washes, you know, anything to support travel costs, new bars, new equipment. So, you know, I know it takes a village to put something like this together. Danny Thompson out here with 115 for her second attempt. The brace, the descent, and the execution.
And on platform 2, impressively, every single lifter in this flight has made their opener, and as they move into the second attempts, that is something we love to see. Good attempt selection. Everybody goes out there, rocks their opener, gets some confidence, and hopefully continues that momentum throughout the day.
What a start. Brandon Gentile taking a second attempt.
Honora really sank that 125, but she gets it up nicely. 3 white lights earned for her. Solid second from Mackenzie getting us started off. And then side by side here, we're gonna have 2 Georgia Tech Barbell Club athletes compete right next to each other. These lifters likely train together, have classes together, and are best friends. You love to compete next to your teammate and in the same session as them. You can kind of warm up with them. You can feel like you're at practice a little bit when you're warming up with your teammate, but it almost kind of sucks to have your teammate lift at the exact same time as you because you want to turn over and watch them. So that might be part of the delay too, is if they're kind of looking over their shoulder saying, oh, is my friend going to get their lift? And for Lydia, her friend Sierra did get that lift with 3 white lights at 125. Let's see if Lydia can one-up her a little bit with a 127. And she absolutely sank that squat. Super low, clear depth, and she does outlift her teammate just by the 2.5 kilos right after her.
Maya Quinone is coming out on platform 4. First athlete I've seen from University of Florida. You know, sometimes people can be a little bit nervous coming out to, you know, what might be a big stage, a new experience, but excuse me. Maya seems really calm out there, very collected, like it might just be another gym day for her.
Yeah. Well, for a lot of these athletes, their opener is gonna be super calm and easy for them, and even the second attempt a lot of times should be a lift that they can get a majority of that time. And unfortunately, that is going to be a no lift on platform 3, but 3 white lights for Maya on platform 4.
Annalie Ochoa, 10 kilo jump, 125 kilos on the bar. And Eric Pham trying to correct, I think it was depth for his opening squat. Repeating, a smart thing to do there.
So that last miss on platform 3 was that platform's first miss of the day.
Deep for Eric Pham, should be good for him, and it is.
Yeah, these athletes have come to play for this session. Everything is looking solid.
Yeah, no kidding. Great start. Jesus
Fight
Salazar.
For Blaze. I think she got it. She does. She's going to have to be careful with that attempt selection next time. depth call for
Salazar
Marianne.
will be trying to repeat 200 kilos here. So easy. Must have been depth on the first attempt. Looked good to us, and it is 3 white lights. You know, one of the things I love about powerlifting is how many shapes can be successful here, how many body shapes can be successful. As Marianne Romagna, one of the taller lifters here, taking 132 for her second attempt.
Oh, and just unfortunately, a little bit too much today for Nevaeh with that 117.5. She looked really good on the 110. She probably could have had that. I know she's done it in practice. I've seen it many a times.
Both lifters on platform 1 will be coming out for 215 kilos. In fact, same opening attempt too. I wonder if they copied each other's attempt selection strategies. Boston University just not successful there.
Sophia has elected to move up to 120 after missing 110. I believe she was called on depth, so we'll see if she can just get it just a little bit lower this time. That looks to be good depth, and that looks like a nice lift.
What a risk to stay on track for your game plan.
Yeah, but
Came to
she
play.
risk and reward with that 120 there. 3 white lights for her.
DeLuca buries 215 and comes up with it. Second attempt in the books.
We are on those third attempts on platform 4, so these are maximal weights for these athletes. A lot of them on their third attempt, they'll maybe have a goal coming into the competition and they'll say, my goal is to hit this. So maybe if they miss their second attempt, they might just send it on the third one, assuming that they had their opener, just to hit their goal that they've maybe had for the year.
Okay, Owen Reedy, another athlete who missed the first attempt and went up anyways. Not always advised, but you know, if you're the athlete, you know what you need to correct. You've got the confidence, maybe you have a little experience, why not?
And Kaylin with that 125 was really far forward, but she was able to get it up and then kind of straighten out her back at the top. So that was a good fight for her. I don't think I would have been able to keep it without falling forward on that.
Misha makes quick work of 217. Shout out to our spotting and loading crew wearing all A7 stuff. Keeping these lifters safe, keeping this meet moving efficiently. Sponsored by A7.
Yeah, and these spotters and loaders are here pretty much every session. Some of them might rotate in and out, but they are doing multiple sessions. And we say the lifters have 9 lifts. The spotters and loaders have 9 lifts per lifter.
Yeah, and speaking of fundraising, I think a lot of colleges send a team here to raise some money for their colleges.
Yeah, a lot of these spotters and loaders are athletes that will be competing later this weekend or maybe did compete yesterday, some of them.
We've had a few commentating too. Okay, Austin Balagao, platform 2, 217.5. And Zoe Mello comes out for her third attempt.
I think in regards to the student athletes who choose to volunteer, and some of them are referees and the spotters and loaders, and like you said, a couple of us are commentating, the student athletes care about powerlifting, and what they really want to do is just expand and better the sport. And if they can help run nationals and help make that experience better for other athletes who maybe haven't been here before, we want to do that as much as we can.
Yeah, I mean, we're so thankful. It's the future of the sport, really. You know, as an athlete, as someone who is passionate about the sport, you get a chance to learn different things about the sport. You know, you learn about the rules, learn about what goes on behind the scenes, help give back and support other lifters. It's really awesome, and it wouldn't be possible without a tremendous group of people.
Jayla fights for a 142 from Davenport.
Okay.
She gets it. She's going to have to be careful on depth on her next one. That one looked a little bit high, but the judges liked it, so it's all she can ask for.
Olivia has fixed the wrist wraps as she comes out for her second attempt. Narrow hands, narrow feet. Slight wobble. Let's see if she got it. She is so happy for her lift. That's amazing. She almost didn't believe what she just did.
Leah picked up that bar with intensity. Sometimes the unrack can be hard, but she looks like she's going to command this squat.
Mm-hmm. Lindsay Reed, fairly wide grip. Yeah, sometimes you just lose a little bit of back tightness when your hands are out that wide. Could be a strength issue, but most lifters do find a narrower hand grip allows them to keep the bar a little bit more stable on their back.
Yeah, and later in the weekend you'll see some of the men particularly elect to use a wider hand grip, some even so wide that they will grip outside of those uprights holding up the bar. But because of the stability of the bar, a lot of these lighter and middleweight athletes are going to have their hands in closer to be able to hold that bar tighter and stay more balanced in their lift.
Yeah, I think a lot of the heavier weight athletes would prefer to bring their hands in, but it's a mobility issue for a lot of them.
Yeah. Well, if you take a look at like platform 3 and 4, just how close their grips are, how much flexibility they have to have in like their elbows and their wrists to be able to do that. And that is partially why some of those athletes will wear those wrist wraps, because of the flexibility and pressure placed on the wrists with that close grip.
Just not there for Sierra. Sticking point was a little too much today. So close. Platform 1 will be staying with Rebecca Jardine, coming out for 125 kilos. Just a great group of lifting here right now. Solid attempt selection, good execution. Nice to see.
Looked good for Helena.
Case in point.
And on platform 4, we're going to have an attempt at 140. That's over the 300-pound mark. That's 308-ish pounds.
Saul Gutierrez, huge squat there, 230, unsuccessful. Let's see if he can come back for that on a third. I think I'm right. These are 3 times body weight squats for these gentlemen on platform 2.
She fights for that. She really has to struggle, but she gets it rewarded for that struggle with 3 white lights.
See the fight in the face on Annalie Ochoa. 132, successful, and 3 for 3.
Yeah, those 3 times-ish body weight squats are killer.
And Zain Hassan fights gravity, 232, locked in. He is happy with that one. Final third squat on platform 4 before we move on to the next flight, flight D. If you are trying to watch a specific lifter, you've got a few ways you can tune in. You can watch the stream, of course, and see the next lifters on the screen. You can go to LiftingCast.com, or you can go to collegiate.nationals.powerlifting.usapowerlifting.com, and you'll see the full roster there with all the details.
Yeah, and I believe you can look at as well what platform and flight number athletes will be on via that roster through the USA Powerlifting website. If you're curious or you're looking for a certain lifter, you can sort and filter.
Big squats here on platform 2. 235 going up for Brandon Gentile from the Nittany Lions.
Yeah, and we're moving on to openers for this platform 4. Moving along quickly over here.
Good use of the full body for Jamie Rodriguez Estrada there.
Really slow pointed walkout from Mackenzie, but worth it because she must set up in that exact right spot just to get that squat in, and she made it look easy. She could have done more for sure.
There's a certain transition lifters go through when learning how to squat where they go from completing the motion and using their quads to using basically their entire legs. It's kind of like a shift in center of balance, even a little bit of adductor use. It really makes a difference in how much you can squat.
Yeah, and a lot of lifters will also start squatting in that high bar position, and then as they get more into that competitive powerlifting, a lot of them will try and switch to that low bar position, which allows them to play around with a little bit more weight sometimes.
Yeah, there's a sweet spot, right? Too low, and it ends up being more posterior chain dominant, too much glutes, hamstrings, low back. too high bar and it's too much quad. So for everyone, there's kind of like this middle ground where you get to use the most of your body to stand up with the weight.
Yeah, both with that high bar, with that ultra high bar position and with an ultra low bar position, you can kind of fall forward a little bit, but if you have it more in the middle of your back, you are more likely to be able to stay upright while still using your muscles.
Of course, technique is just one part of this, as lifters have trained for months, years to get to the strength levels they are, and we're seeing just a snapshot of where they are on their journey. So excited to see both where they've come from and where they're headed.
Yeah, Collegiate Nationals is something that's really cool because you get the opportunity to see people come back year after year, or maybe they didn't qualify their freshman year, but they did their sophomore year, and then they come back their junior year, and maybe they're competing for those top levels.
Yeah, not to mention, I mean, powerlifting is a sport that you can continue to get better at for a long time. I think I hit my personal peak at like age 35, 36 or something like that. So, you know, there's muscle mass. There's, you know, neural efficiency. There's just simple training time. There's a lot of ways to continue to get better. We have reached the start of Flight D on Platform 1. Caleb Goldman will be our first lifter.
Sophie missed that second one, but went up for the third one. Did not pay off with that risk there, just unfortunately unable to get that bar back up.
Josh Schrock, textbook low bar placement just on top of the rear delts there. Deep down with enough force to drive through. Must be happy about that. 212.5 in the books. How much homework do you think people are doing in the warm-up room?
Homework?
Homework.
I don't think anybody's doing their homework in the warm-up room. They all are collegiate athletes, obviously, so they all go to university and are all full-time students. I don't think anybody's doing any homework in the warm-up room, though. I think they're a little bit focused on something else called lifting right now.
I would hope so.
As we get later in the session today, people will start doing some math in the warm-up room as they try and jump past other lifters, but that's not homework. That's just kind of adding.
Big cheers out there as Eric Pham completes his third attempt.
Flying 120 for Lords. Fight on 3. She
What
gets it back
good
up.
fight. Wow. Excellent work there, Marianne.
3 white lights.
It's a beautiful thing when you call that perfect number and it's just enough and you're able to do it. Love it.
Yeah, you want to kind of lift every kilo you can. So on that third attempt, if you go out there and you did your third attempt and it was really easy, you probably should have put some more weight on that bar. But it's always a gamble because if you put more weight on the bar, you could fail, of course.
Yeah. To me, when you see that and that someone calls the perfect number, it's like this agreement. You know, the coach thinks this is the right number. So, you know, there has to be a certain level of like competence in the coach. The athlete has to go out there, believe it, execute it, you know, and make it to the standard, you know. So I love seeing that.
And that is why a couple weeks out, athletes will test single maxes or triple maxes and consider percentages of what they might be able to do, and then maybe subtract a little bit of that just because of the competition environment and the nerves.
As we say it, huge grind there on platform 3. So perfect, Natalie Askin.
Yeah, and sigh of relief as she looks back to those 3 white lights.
But that felt like 10 seconds under the bar.
Yeah.
We don't usually see this, but Rudy Perez did a very high belt placement for squatting. And it's an easy opener at 192. Moving on, great lifting so far. Here is the hype on platform 3.
Maxine going for 145 from UMass Lowell.
Speaking of height, Mason on platform 2, getting ready for 225. Come on.
Bite! Bite!
Oh, so close.
Oh, unfortunately, just not there. Probably could have gotten maybe a 142.5, anything just a little bit less, but it was a valiant effort to try and hit that.
Mason is in there with his 3rd attempt, successful at 225.
Mine got that depth call from the center judges, but the side judges said nope and gave him the good light.
Well, I would love to introduce you guys to lifter, athlete, referee who will be taking my place. Kevin Serrano here will be joining you guys for the rest of this session 2. Looking forward to it. Talk to you guys soon.
Yeah, and so as we round out these 3rd attempts on platform 3, we're going to have Jayla with 147.5. Hello, Kevin.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Kevin Serrano. I am a national referee, meet director, coach, and competitor, and I'm here commentating with
Tia.
Tia. We will take you guys right into the action. We are finishing out our squats here on some of these platforms, platform 3 and platform 2.
Yeah, and we are on the 2nd flight and platform 1 and platform 4. So a ways to go yet. It's going to be a fun day. Thanks for sticking along with us.
Again, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to follow along with the action, you can go to LiftingCast.com, go to 2025 USA Powerlifting Collegiate Nationals Day 2, and you'll find all the respective platforms, platform 1 through 4, and follow the action there so you can see the live attempts as we see them here.
And at the conclusion of the session as well, Scoring USA Powerlifting will also be updating the team standings as well as these lifters compete for their schools. Angelina stepping out with 120.
That is an easy second for Angelina.
Solid lift.
Big squat over on platform 2, 500 pounds for Austin, 75 kilo lifter. Let's see what the referees say. I saw a bit of an up and down. And yeah, I think the referees called it there 2-1. Fortunately, no lift.
Tristan on platform 3 elected to go up 7.5 kilos from her 2nd lift.
And a 5 kilo jump on platform 4 for Hannah.
Good through the middle, way to keep going when placed under pressure.
Perfect attempt selection there on platform 3.
Yeah, we talk about it, attempt selection is key.
We saw some knee cave here on platform 2 for Justin. Unfortunately, 227.5 is not there on the day.
But Hannah gets a nice 120. That should be a good lift.
And Dylan with a very easy opener on platform 1, 446 pounds, 202.5 kilos.
Yeah, I noticed that he kind of drifts to the side a little bit on that squat. I wonder if that will be an issue moving to weights that are a little bit heavier. But for now, that's a good opener and a great day, great start to his day. Elena got a no lift. I think she missed the command.
Saul on platform 2, retaking 507 pounds. Unfortunately, not there on the day. You wonder if he might have opened just a tad bit heavy at 225.
So this is obviously the first lift of the day. Before the lifters started their squats and started warming up for squats, they obviously had to go weigh in. Many of these lifters had to make weight cuts to make their weight class in both the women's 70 category and the men's 75. And sometimes that can be a hard thing to do, but it's important after you weigh in as a lifter to stay fueled and to rehydrate yourself as well. So a lot of lifters would like to have some easily digestible carbs, get some quick energy, and maybe a little bit of sugar since they had to weigh in. But a lot of them also will kind of have had skipped lunch until after they weighed in, probably in order to make weight. So they may be just having lunch as well. Drinking some electrolytes. Some of them drinking electrolytes from our sponsor, LMNT.
Our first successful lift on platform 2 after 3 misses. Tristan hits 230 kilos. We got Stella on platform 3 closing out our first flight with 162.5 kilos.
Yeah, and that looked like a solid lift. She had to fight for it, but it was smooth.
Again, it's very important for these lifters to conserve their energy throughout the day. This is only the first discipline of their competition. They have bench, 3 attempts of bench, and 3 attempts of deadlift to go. So this is only 1/3 of the competition.
Excellent for Valeria. Lily is getting set. From it looks like Coastal Carolina. She's wearing those school colors. And that moved really fast. Solid opener. Expect her to make a larger jump.
We got some big squats over on platform 2, 240 kilos for Brandon. Again, as a reminder, these are 75-kilo lifters weighing in at only 165 pounds.
And it does look like on platform 2 at the end of the flight, we will have a lifter retaking an attempt. Nadia, 135, light work for her. Platform 3, both that first flight and this second flight have just had really successful openers, which is always a good thing to see. We had some struggles this morning on some of the platforms as a lot of red lights that were given out and athletes were just kind of struggling to hit some of those lifts, so it's good to see that this session is starting off better.
As a reminder, this is the national championship, so all referees on the platform are national level referees or higher. So judging will be to standard. So all lifts here are earned.
Yeah. Lifts require an incredible amount of strength, but also technical professionalism as well. Trying to follow those commands from those head referees as necessary to have a good lift. There are the 2 commands on squat, of course, the squat command and the rack command. And lifters have to kind of patiently wait for each one, but usually only a second or 2.
Successful lifts on platform 3 and platform 4. Very easy opener on platform 1 for Lucas. You notice here how he has his uprights turned in. A lot of times lifters elect to move the uprights, which are the stands in which the bar is rested on. They move them in order to prevent the plates from actually hitting the rack, allowing for an easier walkout. So it comes down to lifter preference, as we see here on platform 1. Their spotters and loaders are adjusting that.
Evie is fighting. I think maybe it was high. We'll have to see. Yeah, it was unfortunately high, but she will have another attempt at that, so maybe she can get it a little bit lower next time and get that good lift in.
We got our final lift on platform 2 for flight A, which will be a relift of 227.5 kilos for Misha.
Yeah, so as we are going on throughout the day, we know the environment here at Collegiate Nationals is going to build. It always builds towards the end of every session. People start to get excited in the bench, and as we move to the deadlift and we get to these third lifts on squat even, so that environment here is going to build. So for those of you watching online, if you want to help kind of add to that environment without being here, you can kind of shout out your favorite lifters and teams in that live chat comments if you want to.
Let us know where you're coming from. We see a lot of lifters coming from all places across the country. We see people from East Coast, West Coast, North, South, everywhere across the country. Again, these are the strongest collegiate lifters in the U.S. So
yeah.
Let us know where you guys are coming from.
And that strongest collegiate lifters is regardless of school division. The USA Powerlifting Collegiate National Championships has athletes from both NCAA, NAIA, and all levels of that NCAA competition. So there are no divisions in powerlifting. It's everybody against everybody else. Top dogs only. Angela missed a 120, elected to move up to 122.5. We'll see if she can get this. Strong.
Looks like the gamble paid off. Missed her second attempt, opted to go up 2.5 kilos and succeeds, getting 3 white lights.
Yeah, I'm going to guess she just missed that second attempt on depth, probably.
Winston up next on platform 1, 200 kilos. Fellow lifter from Illinois.
We're starting to get into some big openers on platform 3. Jennifer with 150. And she actually is a top 10 finisher from last year's Collegiate Nationals. At last year's Collegiate Nationals, she ended up finishing 7th. So in that top 10 and gaining valuable points for her team and the team scoring. So hopefully she'll look to do that again this year.
Again, very important for these big teams competing at Collegiate Nationals to put up the best possible total, to place as high as possible for those team points. As we progress through the competition, we'll start seeing the updated placings and scoring cumulative to all the respective teams, which are men's raw, men's equipped, and women's equipped.
Yeah, and the way that team scoring works is each team can bring up to 12 athletes per division, no more than 2 per any one weight class. And the top 7 scores on the team will count towards that team total.
Very strong opener by Jasmine on platform 3. 2-1, good lift.
Victoria is our other returner from last year in this category. These returners are, by the way, from the 67.5 category. They have elected to move up to this new 70 kilogram class that just started becoming in competitions at the beginning of this year.
For those of you who aren't aware, USA Powerlifting actually made a change in the women's weight classes. So as Taya mentioned, 67.5 kilo is no longer a women's weight class. The women's weight classes in that range are 60 kilo, 65 kilo, and 70 kilos.
Yeah, and then so athletes that got their qualifying total last year for Collegiate Nationals in that in the 67.5 class had the option to select for this year's Collegiate Nationals whether they would like to compete in the 65 or the 70 kilo class, and then they just had to commit to that and make that weight. Athletes from the 75 also had the option to go down to the 70 because of the way that the weight class has changed. Usually you would have to qualify in your standard weight class, but those provisions were allowed since the weight class has changed at the beginning of the calendar year.
Some big opening squats here on platform 2. 210 kilos from Eli, coming out to us from Purdue.
Lauren Gomez, UTSA, 160 opener on 3. It moved fast. Let's see what the judges said. 2-1. Good lift. The one judge said it was a little bit high. I kind of thought maybe it was a little bit high, so she's going to have to be careful on her next one. But it moved really fast, so I think she'll take a nice jump still.
Over on platform 4, we see a depth call, 2-to-1. Unfortunately, no lift. So one of the ways we know what the calls are for is when a red light is given, we see a color indicated in the bottom portion of the circular light, which indicates the type of infraction. So in squats, the most common infraction you'll see is a red light with a red card, which indicates a depth call, which essentially states that the lifter did not squat to standard, to depth, which by the rulebook's definition is the hip crease not going below the top surface of the knee.
Yeah, and so if you are following along on LiftingCast and you are wondering why a lifter missed a lift, it does give you those colors on LiftingCast. You can also see them on the screen as well. They don't always show up on the screen, but most of the time they do. But you can click into a lifter's name to find all of their attempts for the entire day and see what color every ref gave each lift.
Very easy opener on platform 2 for Evan Hawk. Evan Hawk's known for his big bench, so expect a big bench for him coming up pretty soon. He's a record holder in that discipline.
Yeah, and he is returning from last year where he finished 6th at Collegiate Nationals, so I'm sure he's looking to kind of avenge that just missing the podium last year. So I'm sure he's looking to make the podium this year. He actually does come in as our top qualifier. His qualifying total was a 695, but Gavin Lafleur is right behind him with a 692.5 qualifying total. So that could be a good fight at the end of today.
We see these lifters coming from all over the country. We see big name schools like Texas A&M, Davenport, Midland as a really big name here at Collegiate Nationals. But we also have very small teams making their appearances and growing their programs, which is very awesome to see how new teams, new students are entering the Collegiate National scenes and actually making their appearances here at the Collegiate National Championship.
Yeah, there's over 100 teams, I think, in the men's and women's raw categories at least. So the team competition is tight. Mika, 145 for her third attempt on platform 4. We just have 2 lifters remaining to squat on platform 4 for this session. And I think that's going to be a good lift for her.
Good lift on 1, good lift on 2, good lift on 3. We got Judith Arias on platform 3 with our biggest opener for that platform.
170 is a crazy opener, and she made that look like nothing.
With a smile on her face, she gets 3 white lights.
Casual. So we'll move to our second attempts in that flight.
We hear the chants from the Longhorn powerlifting team.
And on 4, we've got a fellow Texas team in the University of Houston with Mai. She's going to do a 150 for her third. Yeah, last lifter of the flight and last squat on platform 4. Stomps her feet down into the ground to kind of work her way into that bar.
Dylan Wen and Juan on platforms 1 and 2 respectively get good lifts.
That was a solid 150. Good for her.
Excellent attempt selection there on platform 4.
Kind of flexes on her way off, saying, everybody look at me, see what I can do.
So ladies and gentlemen, over on platform 4, we have concluded our squatting for that session. So we will split the screen here, so now you'll only be seeing platform 3. And over on platform 4, while our spotters and loaders set up the bench, we are going to take a 10-minute intermission, and we'll be back for platform 4 benching.
on platform 3, we're working on down those second attempts. We kind of just started them. Solid lift for Lily. Patiently waits for that rack command and is rewarded with a good lift, 2-to-1, 1 depth call. So something to think about for that next attempt selection choice her and her coach have to make.
We got some of our biggest squats over on platform 2. Big openers here, 232.5 kilos. These are over 500-pound squats as openers as 75-kilo lifters. Jackson from the University of Wisconsin-La Crosse makes easy work out of that, 3 white lights.
We got Hunter, platform 1 from Concordia, going 225. Shakes the rack a little.
When I did equipment check earlier, I saw a lot of lifters from Concordia, so it's nice to see they have a decent amount of representation here at Collegiate Nationals.
Fast on the way down and fast on the way up. And that's a good lift for him. He'll be happy with that, and we'll move to that third attempt and see what he selects.
Carolyn gets that squat command.
A steady squat. And 3 white lights to go with it.
And over on platform 2, that was a 3 white light lift for Jason over from Johns Hopkins University.
Yeah, so I know you do some judging, obviously. You're a national referee. Can you talk a little bit about what kind of goes through your head as you're evaluating the lifts on some of the squats?
Absolutely. So one of the key things you're looking for is before you actually give the start command, you want to make sure that the lifter's knees are locked. They're standing in a fully upright position, and they are just fully balanced, not moving. And then you'll give them that squat command. As we see here in Evan Dressel, he unracks that weight confidently, gets that squat command, takes his brace, makes easy work out of that. Let's see what the referees say about that depth. 2-to-1, that was a good lift. He did get called on the left-hand side by one of the referees who didn't believe he went low enough, but 2-to-1, 2 white lights is all you need.
On platform 1, we've got Charles, who's going to step up to the bar to do a mighty task. He's going to try and recover from a hole. He's dug himself a little bit. He has tried the 195 twice now, failed it both times, unfortunately, and he will be attempting it one more time. Hopefully the third time is the charm for Charles over on platform 1. He needs this lift to record a total.
Biggest opener of the day here on platform 2. Very easy 255 kilo squat by Gavin. Gavin actually competed earlier in February at the Midwest Collegiate Cup over at McKendree University in Illinois. And unfortunately, it looks like Charles Perrell will be timing out and will not be able to post a total. Again, ladies and gentlemen, if you aren't able to post a total, you can still take your bench press attempts and deadlift attempts. You just won't be able to score points for your team or solidify a total.
Yeah, so you won't get any of those team points, or you are not eligible for those individual awards at the end of the day.
Again, as a lifter, even though you might encounter a bomb out, is what we would call it here in powerlifting, it's still advisable to take your attempts. You're already here. You already make the treacherous journey to come to Collegiate Nationals, so might as well just finish out your meet experience and learn from every single moment of the way.
Yeah, I would recommend continuing going unless there's a specific reason that you chose not to, but obviously you can see on the LiftingCast that it looks like Charles has elected not to bench following that failure to register a squat. And athletes will pick that for a number of reasons. They might be emotionally overwhelmed after messing up their squats, or they might just be sick or injured as well, which could be the reason why they were unable to register that squat.
Again, there's a lot of factors and external variables that can affect the lifter's performance, not just the weight cut, but again, these lifters are traveling from across the country, so maybe there's travel difficulties, delays, people having to drive for extended periods of time. A lot of things can go into play into how this impacts their performance here today.
Jasmine has gone up 10 kilos from 150 to 160.
We are anxiously waiting for those lights on platform 2. 3 white lights.
Standard 10 kilo jump, so see what she can do with it. She moves it smoothly and gets 2 to 1, good lift. Just with that one side judge calling that depth call there. When you're refereeing, do you find yourself getting stressed out, like trying to make all the right calls all the time?
I think there is a bit of an element of pressure, but I think if you can judge every single lift consistently with the rulebook, with what is outlined in the rulebook, I think you'll find yourself doing a good job. I think not overthinking it, like kind of going with your gut decision, and again, always erring in favor of the lifter. If unsure, the benefit of the doubt always goes to the lifter.
Sure. And I bet you just kind of get into the routine a couple lifts in onto the day, because you see so many lifts, and these lifters a lot of them have similar techniques and will make the same kind of lifts or mistakes maybe.
Absolutely. And again, as a reminder, all the referees on the platform are national level referees. So these referees have been judging for several years now, there is a bit of a qualification process in order to get to this level. So these referees should know ideally what they're doing.
We're going to have Lauren come out soon on platform 3, 167.5. Oh, and it looks like maybe they're going to adjust that rack to be out instead of in.
This great third attempt on platform 1. Matthew, 210 kilos, 3 white lights as he flexes his tattoo to the camera and blows kisses to the crowd. Again, one of the great things that we have here at these national championships is the luxury of having a jury available. Like these referees who are all national level referees, we have a jury who are all either category 1 or category 2 referees, which are the highest level of referees we have here at USA Powerlifting. They are ensuring that all the rules are being followed, not just with the referees, but the athletes, the spotters, coaches, making sure that all the technical rules are being adhered to.
Yeah, and with that jury here, I believe the lifters can actually challenge calls made by the platform referees if they choose to go to the jury and ask. It is free to challenge 2-to-1 calls, but when they go to challenge, I believe they have to challenge a specific color card. Is that correct?
Absolutely, yeah. So, I mean, if the lifter wants to challenge a lift, they have to approach the jury, ask them what the infractions were for, and the jury will deliberate. They'll come to a consensus on whether or not they agreed with the call on the actual platform, and they'll come up with a decision whether or not they would choose to leave the call as it stands, or put in action whether or not they should give the lifter a relift, overturn a lift, or whatever their circumstance it might be.
Oh, and Madison on platform 3 just kind of comes through the top with too much sauce and kind of throws herself forward. Unfortunately, that's why she is going to get a no lift for that lift.
Dante for Pit Powerlifting covers a lot of ground, taking 12.5 kilo jumps for both his second attempt and third attempt.
Yeah, and so we were discussing the challenging system with the with the review board. In my experience, you can challenge the lifts, but it's highly unlikely for it to get overturned, especially at a national championship where all the referees on the platform are these highly trained national referees. That jury table is most likely going to agree with them, but of course you do have that right to ask. Victoria, she is our second top 10 returner from last year. She got 10th last year. She's going to do 170 right now. And that is easy for her.
So interesting attempt selection here for Ethan on platform 2. Missed his opening attempt at 212.5, but still jumped what I believe is 22.5 kilos and is successful with it. Let's see what the call is on the platform. 2-1, that is a good lift, and what a risky attempt selection there by Ethan, but it looks to be playing out in his favor.
Yeah.
Coming out to us from Texas A&M University, one of those teams that is really in the hunt for points.
He made that second attempt look easy, too, after that big jump. So good on him for lifting well under pressure. No lift on one.
Again, one of the options these teams and coaches have to come to a consensus with is whether or not after a miss they would choose to go up in weight or stay the same. A lot of these lifters are fighting for podium level positions, so every single attempt is going to matter. So it really comes down to how much of a risk the team is willing to take when it comes to choosing to go up or stay at these weights.
Yeah, and you'll notice that certain teams have different strategies with that. There are some teams that if they miss their opener and the opener was supposed to be easy and they just miss it on a technicality, maybe they weren't low enough or they didn't follow the commands, the coach will let the athlete go up anyways just to not ruin that plan or just try and add more kilos to the total at the end of the day. There are other teams that are really conservative, and if they miss a lift, they will be repeating it and not going up.
Yeah, I'd say that's more of the case for these smaller teams who aren't really in contention for the overall placings and really just there to compete amongst the best here at Collegiate Nationals. Talking about attempt selection, Evan Hawk on platform 2 taking a 25-kilo jump from first attempt to second attempt squat, 240 kilos.
Judith, unfortunately, just kind of gets stuck at that bottom position with that 400-pound squat, but that was her second attempt, so she will be able to come back out, hopefully get maybe a little bit better of a brace to come out of that bottom position better.
Waiting on the lights here on platform 2 and 3 white lights. Evan is on the board with 240 kilos.
And on platform 4, we have started bench. We're a couple athletes in. We missed a Vienna and Kelsey, who got 55 and 57. They both got good lifts on those. And walking out here is Nevaeh Osterbauer, looking to lift 57.5.
We're starting to ramp up the intensity here on platform 3 as our ladies get started with their third attempt squats. Nadia kicking us off with 150 kilos.
And a good, easy opener for Nevaeh. Carolyn going to do a 157.5.
We got several lifters on platform 1 going for that milestone 227.5 kilos. We got 3 attempts at that, 2 successful thus far. We got Stephen Gilbert looking to round us out in that goal for 500-pound squat.
And on that platform too, we are almost to those third attempts, but we have those 3 athletes still that have their second attempts left. Shout out to Lily coming out on platform 3. She's got some big support going on this live stream right now. A lot of friends, family, loved ones, all cheering her on from across the country.
She went 12.5 kilos from first to second and 12.5 here on second to third. Let's see how that plays out for her here.
Oh, and unfortunately, just a jump too far today.
We're approaching our 2 biggest squats of the day so far on platform 2. Evan Dressel from McKendree taking us to 573 pounds, 260 kilos. I believe Evan has squatted as high as 606 pounds or 275 kilos in training just a few weeks ago.
I think he's going to try and make that jump to that 275 if he gets this then.
He took a 20-kilo jump from first to second, so maybe that's in the cards. That is a good lift for Evan on platform 2. Gavin Lafleur up next. 5 kilos up from that, 265 kilos. Lucas Wynn, 247.5 kilos on platform 1. That's a 7.5 kilo jump, looking to close out flight B on that platform.
Isabel on her 3rd attempt over on platform 3 is going to do 162.5, a 12.5 kilo jump. And she could have done more. That was easy. She comes through the top with so much power. The bar kind of hops off her back a little bit, and she gets 3 white lights for that.
Big squat here on platform 2. Gavin, 265 kilos. That is an easy squat for Gavin. Gets that rack command. Let's see what the referees say.
Yeah, and
that is 3 white lights.
Marla as well on platform 3. Davenport, 162.5.
And ladies and gentlemen, over on platform 1, we are taking a 10-minute break while we set up the platform for bench. So we'll be back with you guys in 10 minutes. Excellent job from Mara on platform 3. 3 white lights.
She is going to be followed by Alyssa, who missed her second lift at 160, but has elected to go up to 165. It's one of those teams that, or one of those coaching decisions where you made your first one, so you missed your second one, and you kind of have that option without that much of a risk. You are going to maybe lose a couple kilos if you can't get that one, but you're still going to have a total since she made her first one. So hopefully she can get this 165, and that risk can pay off.
Big jump on platform 2. Ulysses taking a 12.5 kilo jump, chasing that 500-pound mark. That seems to be a pretty big milestone for these 75-kilo lifters. 500 pounds at 75 kilos is no joke. That's about 3 times body weight.
And we got Honora with our biggest bench opener over on platform 4 at 80 kilos. And Alyssa gets that lift up solidly. Let's see what the judges say. 2-1, good lift. Good for her. Risk and reward. Sometimes it pays to gamble.
Good press for Honora on platform 4.
Yeah, so with that, every athlete on platform 4 has made their opener, and they will move into their second attempts. We love to see every athlete on platform 4 in this first flight made both their squat opener and their bench opener.
For those of us joining us on the stream for platform 3 and platform 4, these platforms run independently from one another. So we will have instances here like you see on screen where we'll have platform 3 still finishing out their squats while platform 4 is moving right along into the bench press.
Yeah, there are so many athletes in this competition, can take such a long time that if one platform gets ahead, the competition just keeps going to keep that platform ahead because they might have a delay later. Or maybe one group is faster on squats, but they're a slower group on bench because they've got a bunch of bench specialists that really have an extreme setup. So they just like to keep the competition moving in general.
You might have other factors that might impact the length of flights, such as like dropouts or people taking consecutive attempts, which makes platform run faster than others.
Yeah, and it does seem like platform 4 is maybe moving a little bit the fastest just because it is a smaller flight size. Some of the flights at USA Powerlifting National Championships can be up to that 15 lifter mark, usually no more than that. So sometimes a little bit of a smaller flight size, of course, is going to go quicker. You save a couple minutes by saving a couple lifters because each lifter gets a minute to do their lift. I have Jalissa, 172.5 from University of Houston.
Great squat by Julissa. Waiting on those referee lights, 3 white lights.
Nevaeh.
Rounding out our platform 3 squats, we have the top currently forecasted ladies in the women's raw collegiate 70 kilo, all finishing out on their 3rd attempt squats.
Yeah, and they are, I'll tell you what, they're doing some big numbers today, but that is because, as we have said, these are the best lifters in the country. So this platform 3 with these top-seeded women in this 70 kilo class is going to be really competitive, and they're going to put up these big totals. Lauren is fighting.
Very big fight for Julissa. Shocks herself with a smile on her face. Referees say 3 white lights. That is a good lift for Julissa.
Yeah, that was Lauren. Good lift for Lauren. She was proud of herself, and she should be. That was a monumental effort to keep going despite kind of getting stuck and stopping. It's really hard to keep going without having to go down and go back up again, but if you go down and go up, that is a cause for disqualification of the lift. She's followed by Madison, who is doing the same weight, even though she missed her 2nd attempt at 167.5. She's likely doing this 172.5 just to kind of keep her subtotal competitive, hopefully, as we move into that bench.
We hear the roars from the Midland University powerlifting team.
She kind of has a double sticking point, one at the bottom and one in the middle. We'll have to see if she went up and down. Yes, she did.
Unfortunately, that will really cost Midland University, as now Madison walks away with only her opening attempt squat at 160 kilos. Let's see how that plays out as we move along in the forecasted placing, since she is one of the women who slotted for that top 5 position.
Victoria is going to come out with 180. That is just under 400 pounds.
This is pretty insane to watch. I mean, we're talking about almost 4 commercial gym plates here being squatted by ladies weighing less than 70 kilos. Big squat on platform 2.
Just unfortunately comes forward a little bit. Great from the spotters there to take it from her. She will be followed by Judith, who is going to attempt that 182.5 again that she has missed in that last attempt of squat.
Judith had a bit of a mishap on that 2nd attempt. Let's see if she can recover and nail it here on the 3rd.
Yeah, she's going to want this. This at 182.5 is taking her just over that 400-pound mark.
This is Judith's best lift, so she really needs these kilos in order to add.
Yeah, sometimes it can be hard to be a squat specialist a little bit in a competition because you just know that the squat's your best lift and you have to go out there and do it right away, as opposed to kind of working your way into the competition a little bit, getting some of those nerves out there. Your best lift is right away, and if you mess it up, you kind of feel like you're stuck behind. fight. She did well to get past that point in the middle. And she gets 3 white lights and runs to hug that coach.
And over on platform 2, we have Evan Hawk, who just secured a 550-pound squat, 250 kilos.
And we're going to have our last squat on platform 3, also a 182.5 from Sarah Middlich. She is our top-seeded qualifier coming into today. Her qualifying total was a 477.5, so she'll be looking to improve on that today and maybe leave with a national title.
Again, it's still too early in the competition to call, but currently she's forecasted in first with the forecasted 460 kilo total, if successful with this attempt.
Came through very strong. They're making her wait.
Looks like she is successful. 3 white lights.
Yeah. Good way to end out that squats for that platform. And platform 3 is going to adjust and move to bench now, and they'll take that 10-minute break as is customary.
Again, the reasons we take these 10-minute breaks is not only so we can set up the platform for squat, bench, and deadlift respectively, but also to give our staff, spotters and loaders and referees a bit of a break in order to just catch a drink of water or just take a break from all the action on the platform.
Yeah, and those 10-minute breaks are important for them because they really are working all day. A lot of them will do all 3 sessions kind of with that spotting and loading, and the referees will do multiple sessions each day too, so just need a minute to get some hydration maybe and relax in between the lifts.
Platform 2 is looking very successful with none of these top lifters missing any attempts thus far. Let's see how that plays out as we close out these next 3 of the biggest squats. We got Jason, Evan, and Gavin coming up respectively.
And on platform 4, you just saw Vienna very precisely and clearly explain exactly what she wanted to, or what she wants in her lift off to that spotter. Strong third bench from Vienna.
We see that very narrow stance here by Jason. Secures an additional 5 kilos to this total. We see here on the bottom of the screen for platforms 1 and 2, Texas A&M athlete takes 168 kilo on squat third attempt for a new national record. Bit of a highlight for this session in the women's equipped 48 kilo.
Yeah, so I believe that was in that first session yesterday.
Yeah.
And Nevaeh comes back on platform 3 and amends that mistake on that second attempt and gets that good third lift in.
As we called it, 606 squat by Evan Dressel on platform 2. Oh, and unfortunately, it's not there today. So that really shakes up things for the McHenry University powerlifting team, as we have Gavin LaFleur coming up next, representing William Jewell College. 280 kilos, 617 pounds for a 75 kilo lifter. That is just insane.
And he is the last lifter for squat for platform 2 for this session. So let's end out strong on platform 2.
Gavin is just built for squatting. Look at that setup. Gets that squat command. And makes easy work out of that. He had significantly more in the tank. 3 white lights.
Lindsay Reed, no lift on 4.
So that since we closed out our squats over on platform 2, we see our spotters and loaders are currently setting up the bench press and taking that 10-minute break.
Sierra unloading a 75, up 2.5 from her last attempt.
So if you might have remembered, Clara actually took a 20-kilo squat opener. Who knows, it might have been due to injury or just not coming out to squat for this championship. But she will be taking her 3 bench attempts. She was successful with 57.5 kilos, so it's good to see that she's still coming out and taking her benches.
Yeah, I wonder if she might be injured because I do think she's slated also to take a 20-kilo deadlift opener.
Yeah, that is correct. We see that here on the forecasted. Very close grip by Lizzie. Seems to work out well for her. Very strong triceps.
And we got Miss Quiones over here on platform 4. She's going to do 80 for her 3rd attempt. Very strong bench if she can get this.
That was a no lift for Lizzie on platform 1. I believe what they called her for was heaving. I think I saw a bit of that there, which means that after receiving that press command, she sunk the bar deeper into her chest and pressed it out, which unfortunately is not allowed. Once you receive the press command, the bar can only move up.
Yeah, and unfortunately we had a timeout on platform 4, so we'll move to that next lifter.
So the chief referee actually called the bar to be replaced, which means that the lifter was not in a proper starting position to receive the start command. So she had to fix her technique. The chief referee let her know what needed to be adjusted, but unfortunately there was not enough time left within the 60 seconds in order for her to receive the start command. So she'll come back for her next attempt. But
yeah, hopefully she can kind of go 3 for 3 on deadlift after that. Some things that the judges are looking for that start position, they need to make sure your feet are flat on the floor, your butt is in contact with the bench, your shoulders are in contact with the bench, and your elbows are completely straight, and that you are holding the bar stationary and controlled above after you've received that lift off. And we do just have the 3 lifters left to bench on platform 4. We're going to see Blaze attempt an 82.5. Get into some of those nice big openers on platform 1. Our previous athlete opened with a 72.5, and Jesus is going to jump all the way up to a 107.5 for his opener. Might be seeing a little bit of that bench specialty going on for the next 3 athletes. And Honora will be up next on platform 4.
second to last opener here on platform 1. Jamie coming up to us from Boston University, 115 kilos.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's going to be a no lift again. She did miss it on her second attempt, had to try it again, but just not there today. And then our last bencher on platform 4 is going to be Sophia Mordini, benching 87.5 kilos. Representing Iowa State.
And unfortunately, that is a no lift for Sophia on platform 4. Blue.
And so we have moved on to that next flight of lifters on platform 4. Getting some openers in on bench here.
Owen had the heaviest opener of this first flight on platform 1, 132.5 kilos, but it did look a bit of a struggle for him. You wonder if he might have opened too heavy, and that's just one of the strategies that you have to consider here when picking out your attempts at nationals. You want to pick an attempt that is relatively easy, something that you can hit on any given day with tough commands. So if you unfortunately, you run the risk of opening too heavy if you might get a long press command. Who knows, all these other variables coming into play. So you want to give yourself as much room to work with when it comes to making these jumps.
And platform 3 is set to start benching in about a minute.
Ray and Smyers taking us onto our second attempt bench press from the University of Wisconsin in Milwaukee.
On bench, you'll see the lifters use a variety of techniques. So I've seen some use that closer grip and some use that wider grip. The grip can be as wide as those markings on the bar. Your fingers have to be inside or on completely. Those markings, you can kind of see them if you look close enough on the live broadcast. But some lifters will elect to use a closer grip, and some will be somewhat in the middle. It really works with just what muscle groups the lifter has the most developed or what they've trained the most in practice.
A bit more of the conversation as we talk about refereeing and the judging here. The rules of performance, the technical rules outlined in the rule book, specify a kind of a general sense of lifting positions that the lifter can elect to actually compete in. And so a lot of these lifters are built differently, right? They have different limb lengths, they have different torso lengths, just all powerlifters come in all shapes and sizes, so a lot of techniques are going to look different depending on what works best for them. So as a referee, you have to be really adaptive when it comes to judging and officiating all these different technique types.
Are certain techniques of benching harder to judge clearly compared to others?
Yeah, I think when lifters have very high arches and their butt seems to be barely in contact with the bench, that's one of the very difficult ones to judge, because you don't know whether or not their butt is actually leaving the bench if part of their butt comes off or the entirety of the butt comes off. So even if just a portion of it is touching the bench, that is still on the bench. So that's just one of the key things that you just have to look for and be able to differentiate. Good attempt here by Marianne on platform 3 for our McHenry lifter. And again, super important as platform 3 and platform 4 are taking these opening attempts. It's very important for the lifter mindset to just build confidence, take an opener that you know you can hit, moves easy, and build momentum going into the rest of the attempts. The worst thing you want to run into is taking an opener that moves like a second or third. And ladies and gentlemen, we're just under a minute of starting our bench press attempts on platform 2. Kicking us off is Eli, opening us up with 115 kilos. We got about 40 seconds left until the bar is loaded for him.
Yeah, we've got bench openers still on platform 3 and 4. With a good lift on platform 3 for Leah.
Very technical bench here on platform 1 by Olivia. Very soft touch on the chest. Gets that fast press command, and she gets 3 white lights. That is a very good attempt for her.
Texas A&M lifter Mika Ditmore coming up to do her opener, 77.5. I know they've got a big team here, and they're looking to do well. Strong press.
And we got another Texas lifter here, Anali, on platform 1. Three white lights for her. Good lift on 4 for Valeria. 3 white lights. It looks like Rebecca ran into a bit of a sticking point on her second attempt bench press. She went up 2.5 kilos, but wasn't able to lock out those triceps during that middle portion of the lift. Hopefully she retakes that and is able to be successful on her third bench.
Yeah, he's also our last lifter on platform 3. Chose to utilize those bench blocks on the ground to help maintain that footing and contact with the ground. Maybe it was a little bit shorter, so.
We noticed that a lot with our day 1 lifters, with a lot of the lifters in the lighter weight classes who opted to use bench blocks in order to get proper footing, as Taya just mentioned. Leg drive is one of the very important parts and key elements of the bench press. Bench press is not just a chest movement, it is a full body movement. These lifters are driving their feet into the platform and maximizing the amount of arch they can build.
I think that's something that a lot of newer powerlifters have to learn, is how to use those legs to get that leg drive on bench. And you can really see kind of how long a person has been lifting based on how well they leg drive on bench.
Absolutely. A lot of these lifters are very technical, have very refined techniques.
We have our last opener on platform 4, Angelina, with 85.
Over on platform 1, Jamie was successful with hitting 115 kilos, who missed it on this first attempt but was able to be successful on the second, so he's now on the board and ready to build his total as he moves into his third attempt.
We're going to have Evie, 62.5, just taking that 2.5 jump for her second attempt from Liberty University. Next to her, Jayla Krasnicki, 77.5, platform 3.
Bit of a tough second there for Owen. You wonder if he might have opened a bit too heavy or if he has any gas left in the tank. 137.5 looked pretty much almost what he had on the day. I think he might just go up 2.5 kilos, look to secure that.
Yeah, and you'll see a lot of lifters that from their second to their third bench press attempt, they might just elect to go just up just that 2.5 kilos. If that second attempt was hard, it can kind of drain a lot of your energy. So the third attempt is always a stretch. In my opinion, the third attempt bench press is probably the hardest lift to get in any meet.
Yeah, that is absolutely true. Statistically, it is the most commonly missed lift in all of powerlifting, whether it's raw or equipped. And as we notice here with the attempt selections, when we were talking about squats and we were viewing the attempt selections, a lot of these lifters are taking bigger jumps between attempts. And that is because the squat utilizes stronger and bigger muscles like your legs, lower back, hamstrings, glutes, whereas the bench press utilizes those smaller muscles in the body, which are the shoulders, chest, and triceps. So you are going to take smaller attempts to accommodate for those smaller muscles, which are, I guess you would call it, weaker or less strong than the former.
Yeah, and of course you are going to take maybe a little bit bigger of a jump on squat and a smaller jump on bench, but you're also going to squat more, so it makes sense that the jump is bigger. If you look at like just the percentages, like the percent increase from the second squat to the third squat is going to be a little bit more comparable than just comparing the jump sizes, since most people are going to, they'd probably have to bench twice to equal their squat or their deadlift.
So relatively the jumps are the same, it's just the amount that is changing. We got all 4 platforms going here. Three whites on 2.
Good arch on platform 3 for Kayla. And she gets 3 white lights for her opener. One more opener left on platform 3, it looks like. Oh, we've got a couple more. Sorry, I have to scroll down on my computer.
Again, for a lot of these lifters who are competing in these big teams and are in these weight class battles, even though in the bench press we are lifting a significantly smaller portion compared to the amount we're squatting or deadlifting, these benches are super important, since 2.5 kilos made on the bench press could mean 2.5 kilos less needing to pull in the deadlift when we're pulling for the win. And we'll see that later on today, how that plays out.
Yeah, and a lot of the placements today in the earlier session were determined by those 2.5 kilo differences, or maybe a 5 kilo difference, in some of the placements even a 0 kilo difference. There were some ties broken on body weight for assigning placement points earlier, and so these athletes, if they can get an extra 2.5 on bench by maybe playing it safe on that third attempt and just knowing that they're going to get their third attempt, that's a really smart move by them, and kind of humble, and just really shows that they're a team player, as if what they're really trying to do is get these team points.
It is a decision that needs to be made by the coaching staff on whether or not they want to take the aggressive route and gamble for a little bit more kilos, make it easier on the athlete if successful. But if they run the risk of missing that lift by taking that gamble and putting themselves in a worse position when it comes down to the deadlifts and making those final pulls. So it's a lot of strategy going into powerlifting here. It's not just simply lifting weights. Collegiate Nationals is known for being this very big team-based competition. So a lot of coaching going on back here in the warm-up room as these coaches put together the best possible performances for these athletes.
Yeah, and you'll see some more of that coaching strategy come into play as coaches make the deadlift attempt selections when they are pulling for their final placements. Some coaches will elect to match deadlifts of other lifters and have their lifter pull after them if they have a higher lot number, or they may go up 2.5 from another lifter just so that they pull after them if they have a lower lot number, and then they might wait and see what somebody else puts in just to see if their athlete can get a higher total.
Lindsay taking a 5 kilo jump on platform 4 makes easy work out of that.
I think the general rule in powerlifting is kind of don't pay attention to your competition until you get to the deadlift. Just squat and bench what you can. That's what's under your control. Put up as big of a subtotal as you can. And then when you get to that deadlift, go for it.
One of the biggest risks in powerlifting, and one of the things we always like to tell a lot of beginner powerlifters is don't chase numbers. Training is one thing, competition is another thing. So whether or not you hit something in training is not what you should aim for here on competition day. You should opt to take what you have on the day based on how things are feeling. And that is really how you build a total here in powerlifting, especially at the highest level.
Excellent 82.5 from Micah. 2-1, good lift. Center judge maybe felt like that command wasn't followed well enough.
Anali on platform 1 from UTA taking a 5-kilo jump to 80 kilos.
Carrie missed her opener, so she's really going to want this on platform 3 just to make sure she doesn't put herself in a bad situation, but she makes that look easy, so she should have that. Yeah, she does.
Fortunately, no lift on platform 1 for Annali. We got a few of the collegiate men's 75-kilo lifters on this flight C on platform 1, rounding us out on the bench press.
Yeah, it's always tough for the people organizing the competition to try and figure out platform and flight assignments for these individuals because they want to keep the flights and the lifters in the same weight class and kind of the similar flights and same platforms, but sometimes you just have an odd number and you can't do that.
For a lot of these weight classes that are very deep, I think the men's 75-kilo lifter division is 48 lifters deep. These are some of the biggest weight classes represented here. It's very difficult to assign these platform configurations, so a lot of the times the configurations are based upon the qualifying total for these athletes.
Yeah, so they're grouped by qualifying total, so then being that flight size we said is the biggest of flight sizes 15, so they're going to be across 4 different groups. Being 48 large, I think you said. Yeah. I think the women's 70-kilogram class has 50-something in it, so balances out that little.
That's a very easy opener for third attempt for Jamie there.
Yeah, we're on second attempts, both platforms 3 and 4.
This is our last attempt on platform 1. Owen from Auburn over in Alabama.
Three white lights on platform 4. And now we're moved to that third attempt on platform 4.
We got our spotters and referees checking the platform on checking the bar on platform 2, making sure everything's properly loaded correctly and the lifter is in a safe position to lift. Fortunately, no lift on platform 1 for Owen.
Yeah, sometimes as a lifter, when you have that slight delay before your lift, it can be kind of nerve-wracking. The lifter before you goes, you're expecting to have 60 seconds, and then there's a pause or a delay for safety purposes of just making sure that the bar and the equipment is set up correctly, but you kind of have to stand there and you had maybe put on your wrist wraps or something, and you have to take them off and redo that. That can be rattling, so.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of the things that you can't allow for those instances to throw off your game. I mean, as an athlete, you have to learn to adapt to the circumstances. You can't control the timing of things here at the national championships or anywhere you compete for that matter. So it's really important for you to be very adaptive as an athlete to adjust to the circumstances that are presented to you. So delays and anything of that nature are things that you'll encounter regardless of the level of competition. First opener here on platform 1, Emilio making easy work out of that, opening us up on flight D for bench press.
That is a strong third press for Evie. She gets 2 white lights.
University of Miami in Danielle up here on platform 4, 67.5 kilos. Getting very close to that bodyweight bench. Very impressive lift there.
Maxine giving her family like a peace sign there, I think, or her team probably. Just trying to relax before she goes out to nail this second attempt.
Again, it's very amazing to see the level of support these lifters have for one another. A lot of the times these lifters are competing or are getting ready to compete, but also showing up here to support their fellow teammates. So it's really, really awesome environment here and electric at Collegiate Nationals.
Yeah, and it's really special at Nationals, or Collegiate Nationals specifically, when you're able to have both your teammates and possibly your family come. We had a lifter on our team that was supposed to lift yesterday morning, and her family's flight got delayed, and they decided to drive overnight to come down and watch her, and ended up getting here in the morning just in time to watch her. So it's really an important competition, and the amount of support that you get for it is incredible.
Goes to show the level of passion some of these athletes and their families have for the success of their children in this sport.
Moving back up to the top of the flight on platform 2 as we move into those 2nd to 10th on bench.
Isabella on 4 missed 77.5 kilos, but elected to go up by 2.5 kilos to 80. It appears she got a 2-to-1 no lift on her 2nd attempt, so might have been a technical error. Let's see if she can fix that here on the 3rd. She gets that star command.
Very strong. So those side judges given that yellow light again, that probably means that she lost contact with the bench, you think?
Yeah, I mean, it could be one of two things. From this angle, we can't really tell, but it didn't look like it was anything with the press. I think it might have been either butt or something with her feet. That's something that's a bit difficult to tell from this angle, but both side referees were able to catch it in both instances, and unfortunately that was a no lift.
Yeah. And we also don't have replay back here. You might be able to see it if you showed a replay and looked at her feet specifically, but we're just watching mostly the press. So looks strong for Lindsay. 3 white lights for her.
Micah from Texas A&M looking to go 6 for 6 if successful with his 85-kilo bench. Easy press by Dante from Pitt Powerlifting on platform 1. Pitt Powerlifting is also one of the spotting and loading crews here at CNATS, so it's really cool to see them not only compete but also give back to the sport.
See if she can hit this 85. Stella could. See if we can get that 85 matched on platform 4. Yeah.
That is a good lift for Micah on platform 4. 3 white lights.
Good patience throughout that lift. Keep pushing and that pause at the top. I think she did a good job of letting those spotters pull that bar back for her once she received that rack command. Big fan of lifters who utilize that technique of just letting the spotters take it once you get that rack command so that they have no chance of missing it.
Three white lights on platform 2 for Brandon. Eric Pham up next from Spartan Powerlifting. San Jose State University.
Unfortunately, it's going to be a no lift for Valeria on 4. Lost a little bit of tension on the way up, I think, and got stuck.
Tristan doing a great job on platform 3, instructing that spotter, that handoff person exactly how she wants her liftoff. Again, as we talk about the resources we have here for these lifters, I mean, these spotters and loaders are professional spotting and loading teams. They have done many meets at the highest level, so they are not only efficient, but can adapt to the requirements and requests of these lifters.
Yeah, and you might wonder what the lifters kind of tell the spotters. Usually they just tell them something like, go on my nod or count to 3. just something to indicate when they're ready.
And a bit more of like how they want the lift off, a very hard lift off or a very soft lift off. Something that it really comes down to the preference of the lifter. Two to one, Lucas is good on platform 1. 3 white lights on 4. And another 2 to 1 lift on platform 3. I see a thumbs up there from Greg Page.
Angelina adjusts that bar back to the center. Now she's going to sit down and get ready. Didn't really come off the chest for Angelina, unfortunately.
And here in Austin's case, we see he waved off the spotter and loader, meaning that he just wants to unrack the weight himself, not have to worry about anyone else giving him the lift off. It really comes down to preference. I, for myself, have previously utilized the spotter and loader, but as of recently, I've been doing a self-unrack, which honestly has been very productive for my training.
Yeah, and for a lot of lifters, if you're from a smaller school and you don't have a team, so you're left to lift off by yourself all the time in practice, it might throw you off to receive a lift off for the first time ever in the competition. And on platform 4, we have finished bench. They're going to take that 10-minute break, get ready for deadlift. We're on third attempts on platform 3.
One of the biggest cues we tell our lifters is to make the lifting on the platform be as consistent with what you've been doing on training. You don't want to switch anything up when you step on the stage, because the more things you switch up, the more things that you have to go wrong. I mean, you don't want to make your environment any more unfamiliar than it already is. We got McHenry up here on platform 3. Mary Ann. Amir gets that 3 white lights on platform 2.
Solid lift.
Picks up another 2.5 kilos on platform 3.
Always good to get those extra kilos. Looking for that subtotal and going into that final pull.
Great lift for Tristan. Platform 2, 3 white lights.
Three white lights on platform 3. Third bench there. Extra 2.5 kilos added to that total. We've seen a lot of good lifts in this session. I think it's maybe helpful that it's the middle of the day. They got to sleep in a little bit before they came and weighed in.
Very awkward attempt on platform 1 for Rudy. Looked to have an uneven lockout. Was successful at it, got 3 white lights, but you wonder what might be the issue there. Was it a technical issue, or did he simply open a bit too heavy? We'll see how that plays out as we move into our second and third attempts.
Yeah, sometimes you watch those lifters and they go out to do their opener and they make their opener, which is of course what you want, but they make it look really hard. You have to wonder what they're going to jump to.
Winston Suni up here on platform 1 from the University of Illinois at Urbana. Great lift for Winston there on platform 1. Unfortunately, gets a 2-to-1 no lift. You wonder what that might be. I think he might have possibly racked it a bit too early, but we'll see. We'll see how that plays out when he puts in his next attempt. And you hear that support from Mackenzie from Penn State University. She gets 3 white lights, 82.5 kilos.
Good for her.
Again, Collegiate Nationals is one of these meets that is known for having this very electric environment. It is one of the biggest team-based competitions in the sport of powerlifting.
Yeah, and with the benches on platform 3 here, these are above body weight, well above body weight benches for all of these women. Maxine's gonna come out and do 85. Little trip over the platform, but
Hunter Powers from Concordia, 115 kilos. Bit of a sticking point locking out those triceps for a second attempt, but still a good lift, 3 white lights.
good job, Hunter. Fun fact about Hunter, when you clicked on the live stream, his photo was the one used as the cover model.
Free advertisement there for Hunter.
Yeah.
Vin Ho is looking to retake 115 kilos, which he missed on his opening attempt. Strength was definitely not an issue. Gets 2-to-1. You wonder what that call might be. We didn't notice anything from the front, but the right referee called him for a yellow card, which can mean a variety of things. But from our angle, we think it might be either his butt coming up off the bench or his feet coming up off the platform. So that'll be an adjustment he needs to make in order to continue getting these white lights.
And for clarification on the foot rule, I believe the feet can slide, they just can't come up, right?
Absolutely, yeah. So your feet have to remain flat on the ground, but your feet can slide on the platform. So if you're really pushing that leg drive and your feet are moving along the platform, that's completely fine. But if your heels or your toes come up, that is a no lift, which is a bit different from squats, for example. You're in the squat, it's the inverse. Your heels and toes can come up, you can rock between your feet, but your feet cannot move laterally in any direction.
Appreciate that clarification, thank you.
308-pound bench on platform 2, 140 kilos. Josh.
Happy after those 3 white lights on platform 3.
Good lift by
Jumping
Chase
up
on
and down.
platform 1.
Tristan trying to take some revenge on the 90 from last time.
She's coming to us from Arizona State University. Misha on platform 2, our biggest second attempt here on platform 2. 155 kilos. Matthew Gibbs, 127.5 kilos, taking a 5 kilo jump. Mason taking a 2.5 kilo jump on platform 2.
Stella gonna bench 90.
Stella's one of these last few lifters on platform 3, looking to close out the bench.
Yeah, and then we'll move to that second flight for the session.
Good press by Mason on platform 2, as well as Matthew on platform 1.
And we want to welcome back our platform 4 lifters as they're getting ready to start in about 1 minute on the deadlifts here. We're going to start with Sierra, who's going to open with a 117.5.
And JV makes great work out of that sticking point, able to press through that 3 white lights at 132.5 kilos.
Kalia, strong press for that last attempt at 92.5. 92.5 is that 200-pound mark.
Sierra on platform 4 looking to open us up on deadlifts, 117.5 kilos.
First deadlift of the session. And it is a good one.
Lucas Wynn on platform 1 from Purdue puts up a great fight with 135 kilos. Unfortunately, a no lift, 2-1. You wonder if he either got called for his butt coming up off the bench or feet. With a grind like that, I think it presumably might have been his butt coming up off the bench. That's typically the infraction that happens when lifters have to grind a rep like that.
All right, last bench for this flight for platform 3. Natalie Askin, coming from the University of Delaware, and she is going to bench this 97.5.
Natalie really looking to pick up just those 2.5 kilos that are critical for her total. She's currently gone 5 for 5 leading up to this attempt. Let's see if she can go 6 for 6 and build that awesome momentum as she looks to close out her meet with the deadlift.
No, unfortunately. He came down real slow, had that light touch, and then the press on the way up just got stuck. And we will move to that second flight. Starting us off with an opener is Nadia Valcourt, 72.5.
Good press by Rudy there on platform 1, 2-1, good lift. And Micah, look at that fight on platform 2, grinding out 132.5 kilos, able to get it with the elbows locked. Let's see what the referees say. 3 white lights. That is one of the best bench grinds I've seen all day today.
Yeah. Just have that little bit of extra motivation being on the national stage to say, I do not want to miss this in front of everybody right now.
Again, the amount of support he got from the crowd just helped them get that lift up. Again, it really does go a long way for the athlete to get that support from the crowd.
Absolutely. And it's from their team and from other teams as well. We talk about it all the time. In powerlifting, lifters want to see good lifts. So they will cheer for somebody who's struggling or fighting, even if they're not from their own team.
For anyone who's ever been to a local meet, you always hear the crowd cheering for every single attempt. And that's the same energy we have here at Collegiate Nationals. Austin Belengo up here on platform 2.
I'd say that the energy at Collegiate Nationals is about, like 10 times as hype as a local meet, though. But
Austin's excited with that attempt, as he should be. He gets 3 white lights.
glaze opener of 125 on deadlift. Solid.
We see a lot of these lifters taking their time with the setup. Again, these lifters have 60 seconds to receive that start command in the bench press, so plenty of time for them to actually set up and get that perfect position for them to execute the bench. Both lifters, platform 1, platform 2, get 3 white lights.
The second of a couple of 75s on platform 3 from Marla.
That's a very good lift for the Davenport lifter on platform 3, 3 white lights.
Yeah, she'll take that. Up next is Victoria, looking to bench 77 and a half.
Let's take a look at Winston here on platform 1. Misses opener at 150, went up 5 kilos anyways to 155. Let's see how that plays out here. Presses it really nice off the chest. Let's see what the referees say. I believe he got a 2-to-1 no lift, but he looks to get 3 white lights here on his second attempt.
Lindsay, strong first deadlift, skips off. All right, and we have Nevaeh up next. Now, Nevaeh squatted and benched very, very near the beginning for all 3 of her attempts for those, and she is our last deadlifter of the flight. She is our resident deadlift specialist. She's going to open with a nice 160.
Big jump from the previous deadlift over to hers. Let's see how easy this 160 moves.
Yes.
Like butter. Gets that down command.
Absolutely, 3 white lights.
She got a bit of a delayed down command as she just needed to get those shoulders back, but she did that, got the down command, and got those 3 white lights.
Good for Nevaeh.
Good lift for Tristan on platform 2, 3 white lights. Hunt and Powers with those very consistent 5 kilo jumps on platform 1, 5 and 5. Our lifter from Concordia.
See if Hunter can get this 120. Come on, fight.
Just
No.
got stuck off the chest. Very wide grip there for Eric Pham. And he presses out 137.5 kilos. That is the mystical 300-pound bench. Successful here at Collegiate Nationals. Vin Ho, 122.5 kilos on platform 1.
Madison Garcia. Nice 85 opener there.
We got Dylan Wynn on platform 1, taking a 7.5 kilo jump to 127.5 kilos. 281 pounds.
A little bit of a grind for Maya, but she gets it up very cleanly. She gets a good lift, 2-1.
And that is a speedy opener by Carolyn on platform 3, 3 white lights. A lot of room left there for her. Dylan fights that 127.5 kilos. Unfortunately, it is not there today. He'll be back for deads. Ozzy looking to bench 142.5 kilos, which is just a pound under 3 commercial gym plates.
You're going to see 3 90s in a row here on platform 3. All 3 of them openers. That is just under that 200-pound mark. Rounds up.
Again, as a reminder, this is well above these ladies' body weight. That is an impressive bench press for an opener. So these ladies have much more benching left to do. And they make it look very easy.
Yeah, that was a solid opener. Does get 1 yellow light, but good lift.
That is no issue. Again, receiving a red on a good lift, especially on an opener, can tend to have the lifter kind of second guessing a bit of their technique. So it really comes down to how the coaches are able to navigate a situation like that, addressing the technical error, whether it's inquiring to the jury, asking what that infraction was for, or just being able to tell the lifter what corrections they need to make if they saw what the infraction was for. So just small technical adjustments that need to be made. But, I mean, to be honest, there really is no issue to worry, especially when it moves just as fast.
Yeah. All right, 2 good 90s. Can we make it 3 good 90s on platform 3? And on platform 4, Sophia stepping up to the bar, 142.5.
And after that big round on platform 1, they get 2 white lights, 2-1. That is a good lift for Matthew.
Easy for Sophia. Little belt flick as she walks off.
Maybe another 10-kilo jump. Who knows?
Yeah.
Kaylin on platform 4 elected to not retake 142.5 and instead went up 7.5 kilos to 150. Let's see how that plays out for her on platform 4.
Misha getting ready to go on platform 2 from UNL.
That was a bit of work for Kaylin for her second attempt. She gets 2-1, a no lift. She got blue cards, which either can be hitching or supporting the barbell on the thighs. So a very complicated predicament for her here, as she is 0 for 2 on deadlifts, needing to make her third in order to stay in the meet and post a total.
Yeah, she did get a squat and a bench in, so if she can get that deadlift, she will get a total, but came down to that last moment.
She's a lifter coming out to us from the University of North Texas. And we got our final bench press attempt for our Flight C lifter on platform 2, Misha.
And we're going to have Nevaeh come out next on platform 4, doing 172.5. Looking fly in those pink socks. I wonder who gave those to her. Strong.
With a smile on her face, receives that down command. And
Good
that is a
for
3 white
Nevaeh.
light lift. Good lift for Nevaeh. We're moving right along to Flight D on platform 2. We got Ethan, who was successful in his bench press attempt of 125 kilos. Waiting for those lights there, but our lifter from Texas A&M University is on the board. Lily Young, our final bench press opener on platform 3, 226 pounds, 102.5 kilos. That is 2 commercial gym plates for an opening bench press, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, that is no easy feat. And we are on our 3rd attempts now on platform 4. Just taking a 2.5 kilo jump. But yeah, just not there today. That 130 really was hard work for her. She got it up cleanly and she got that good lift for 130. So that 132.5 was just because she didn't know if she could do any more than that 130. And unfortunately today she could not. But she has had a good day. So congratulations to her for her performance.
And good sportsmanship by Maya for giving that salute to the crowd. Really just goes to show how appreciative she is of the crowd for cheering her on.
Unfortunately, not to be on the third deadlift either for Sierra.
Took a bit of a gamble there with a 15 kilo jump. Fortunately not there today, but you wonder if she would have been able to lift a little bit more or been able to hit an attempt if she took a less of a jump, but it looked like she was pulling for a placement. And a nice grind by Gabriel on platform 1. 3 white lights, secures another 5 kilos to his bench press.
Hannah getting that 3rd, but kind of drops it at the top. So she probably will not get that light for dropping the bar.
She received the down command, but dropped the bar at the very top of the lift. Who knows if she might have just gotten a little too excited, but she will unfortunately not be credited with that lift.
She could have gotten a little too excited, or she could have kind of maybe if her grip was slipping and just unfortunately couldn't hold on to it for another second or two. But I think she just got excited. Kelsey, we'll have to see if maybe a blue light or two.
Yeah, a bit of an up and down movement on the bar there for Kayla. She won't be credited with that lift. Caleb on platform 1, 157.5 kilos for his 3rd attempt bench press.
Yeah,
second heaviest bench.
We just have those 2 left on platform 1.
And Caleb puts up a great fight with 157.5, able to lock out those triceps, gets that rack command. Let's see what the referees say.
Yeah, he
3
pops
white lights.
up, he's excited.
That is a good comeback for recovery, as we remember he went 1 for 3 on squats, but is able to go 3 for 3 on the bench press, building good momentum as he leads into deadlifts.
Alrighty, and on platform 1, walking up to the bar, we have Winston, who missed 150 for an opener, went up to 155, made it, and has elected to make another 5 kilo jump for his 3rd attempt. We'll see if he can hit this 160.
And our heaviest squatter of the session for our 75 kilo male is taking his opening attempt bench press, Gavin Lafleur, with 140 kilos on platform 2.
Vienna looking really strong on that 3rd attempt there.
Took a big jump from 2nd to 3rd, but is able to be successful with that. We're talking a 17.5 kilo jump for Vienna on platform 4. Winston was unfortunately unsuccessful with that attempt on platform 1.
Kaylin needs this deadlift. She has a squat and a bench. She has missed 2 deadlifts. She needs this. Come on.
Let's go, Kaylin.
Get it up. Pull. Pull. Lock out the shoulders.
It looks like she might get that. She gets that down command.
Yeah.
And she posts a total. Congratulations, Kaylin.
Saves herself. Way to fight there. Easy 153rd attempt for Sophia. She should feel good about her day today.
We're down to our 2 final deadlifts of Flight C on platform 4. Josh Zerlot opening us up with 142.5 kilos on platform 2. We're going to see some of our heaviest bench presses of the session on platform 2 today.
Alrighty, and it looks like they are loading the bar for our next lifter, our last lifter of the flight on platform 4. Next lifter up is Nevaeh Osterbauer from Concordia.
Nevaeh will be pushing us past the 400-pound mark on her final deadlift, 182.5 kilos.
Come on, Nevaeh, come on.
She gets past those
uppy,
knees.
uppy.
Unfortunately, it won't not be there, but she says hi to the crowd and is thankful for that support. That won't be the last of Nevaeh.
No, her roommate next year is going to bully her into practicing those deadlifts a lot.
Good press there by Carolyn for her second attempt at 95 kilos. 3 white lights.
And we are starting deadlift for that next flight, of course, on platform 4.
Pretty soon, as we start rounding out these bench presses on platform 3 and platform 2, we're going to start having a better idea of what the forecasted placings are going to look like as we roll into deadlifts. Again, very critical for these lifters to get these bench presses in order to secure as many kilos to their total as possible, which essentially means they'll have to pull less if they are in a position where they are battling for placement.
Danielle's going to start off with 135, just under 300.
Sarah, our lifter from UVA, on platform 3, 97.5 kilos, 7.5 kilo jump. She's taking her time getting that set up. Christopher Tran, platform 2, 147.5 kilo opener. Very easy for Chris.
Still on second bench attempts on this platform 3. A little bit of a longer flight here, so 97.5 for Sarah.
Very deep sink there on the chest for Sarah, but not to be a problem for her. She gets 3 white lights, and that is a good lift.
And so on the bottom of the screen here on platforms 3 and 4, you can see those updated team standings. Raw Women is Midland is in first, Concordia is in second, and Rutgers has overtaken that third place spot by a single point. However, I do believe that Rutgers does not have any lifters left to lift, so I believe that that spot is open for the taking, third place for somebody else to move up into after this session. For the equipped men, Midland in first, Texas A&M in second, and UTSA in third.
Again, ladies and gentlemen, we're not even done with day 2 of the competition. We still have Saturday and Sunday sessions left to go, so plenty of lifting remains at 2025 USA Powerlifting Collegiate Nationals in Oklahoma City. Juan Saenz up next with 160 kilos as his opening bench. These are the 3 final remaining bench presses of these openers for Flight D, Platform 2.
Got Valeria, platform 4.
Very speedy opener for Valeria on platform 4. That was a no lift on platform 2. Let's hope Noah can come back and hit that on his second attempt bench press. And ladies and gentlemen, turn your eyes over to platform 2. We got Evan Hawk opening up with a plus 400-pound bench press for an opening attempt as a 75-kilo lifter. He holds the American Collegiate bench press record and is looking to probably surpass that today.
Yeah, I do believe that current American Collegiate bench press record is 205.5, so he's going to take some probably big jumps here, but he could get there.
Yeah, I mean, he's benched in training as close to 500, so we'll see how close he can break that record here today. 187.5 should be no issue for him. A very refined and technical lifter. Just look at how much he's able to develop his arch.
Easy.
That it flew off his chest.
Be interesting to see how much he goes up by for his next attempt because that flew.
Looks like Evan put in 200 kilos as his second attempt bench press, so he's really looking to break that American Collegiate record for his third.
Yeah, for sure. Last opener on platform 4, Evie, 152.5. Strong for Marla from Davenport. 3 white lights for her.
It's very awesome to see the progression of Collegiate Nationals as it's developed over the years. You see more and more teams coming out to represent their universities, which just goes to show the growth of powerlifting within USA Powerlifting. It's just super amazing to see.
Alyssa from UTSA, 85. Got a good arch, so it doesn't have to move that bar very far. Has to fight for it, but that's a good third attempt at 3 white lights. Lindsay rocking the green A7 singlet. Shout out to them. They're our sponsors. She's pulling 142.5 with ease.
And a 5-kilo jump here for platform 3, Nadia, going from 80 to 85 kilos, looking to go 6 for 6 in her meet. Comes to us from Cornell University. We got quite a few Ivy lifters competing in this competition.
Yeah, I think they have their own Ivy League Powerlifting Cup even. I think I saw that on LiftingCast.
Yeah, that is one of the very coveted championships for the collegiate scene in that region. 3 white lights for Danielle on platform 4. Ulysses puts up a great fight with 135 on platform 2. You wonder how much he's able to go up from that. Looked like a pretty hard attempt to me. Presumably just going up 2.5 kilos, get it on the board.
Yeah, Victoria, third attempt bench, 87.5. Next to her is Angelina, second deadlift, 147.5.
And we are just under a minute until platform 1 commences their opening deadlifts. Kicking us off, we'll have Clara.
Strong for Angelina with that 147.5.
We see the spotters and loaders preparing that barbell.
Oh, and she did up that. She initially had 20 in as an opener, and now it's 45. But I think that's just to put a plate on the bar so that it doesn't have to start from the ground.
Yeah, I mean, it would be pretty hard to pick up a barbell just straight off the ground, especially if she might be dealing with some sort of injury or something preventing her from actually taking a deadlift.
But I'm sure she will have no problem with that 45. I think she's just looking to probably put up a total for her team. Maybe bench, she's a little bit more capable there if she's injured. The bench doesn't hurt quite so bad. Maybe it's a leg thing, but... Gonna see a couple 90s in a row, 3 of them on platform 3. Saw a couple in a row earlier, worked out well. A little shaky on the way down there, yeah. And then she just couldn't get it back up off her chest. I think she, from the get-go, had a little bit of that up and down on that initial lowering. Just maybe not in the best position.
75 kilo attempt here for Zoe on platform 1.
Hannah setting up that nice wide sumo stance for 155.
And Julissa Fonseca on platform 3, looking to go 6 for 6. And she does. She presses out 90 kilos very nicely from the University of Houston. Gets 3 white lights in that lift.
Alrighty. So on our 3 attempts at 90, we're 1 and 1 good, 1 bad. So we'll have to see if Madison here can break that tie in the favorable direction. She did fail 90 last time around, but sometimes that's just a missed groove, and you're gonna nail it on your next attempt. So let's go, Madison. You can hear the drums and the air horns out there from that Midland team supporting her. She presses it out. I don't know. Good lift, 2 to 1.
Anali on platform 1, 115 kilos for an opening attempt. We have Longhorn powerlifters on platform 1 and platform 2. It's very awesome to see how represented this team is at Collegiate Nationals. Lourdes over on platform 4 from Purdue, 157.5 kilos, is successful. She gets 2 to 1. That is a good lift. Lauren from UTSA, another Texas representative, 97.5 kilos on platform 3. 3 white lights for Rito on platform 2. And Rebecca gets 3 whites on platform 1. Evie Bell upping her deadlift 17.5 kilos from 152.5 to 170. Bit of an aggressive jump here. She is the final puller in her flight. Let's see how well this pays off.
Strong 170.
Looked at about what a second attempt should look like, so that is a very good attempt selection by the coaching staff.
Yeah. Wonder if maybe on her 3rd attempt that grips might be a little bit of an issue. It looked to be a little bit low in her hands, kind of in her fingertips. So that could come into play as she tries to do her 3rd attempt at that maximal load. Nice for Caroline on 3.
We're down to our final 5 second attempts on platform 2. Jason kicking us off with 155 kilos, a 10 kilo jump, successful with it.
And our first opener on platform 4 is a good lift from Mai. Easy 100 for Jennifer.
And we got the first deadlifts for our 75 kilo males over on platform 1. Jesus Salazar kicking us off with 212.5 kilos. As a reminder, there's only 3 75 kilo lifters in platform 1 flight C. That is one of the mixed platforms where we have men and women competing in the same flight.
Yeah, and sometimes those mixed platforms can run a little bit slower just because they have to change the weight a little bit more in between some of those lifts, trying to get to those last couple lifters.
Big grind here for Angelina on platform 4. Takes a 5 kilo jump and is successful with 152.5 kilos, 3 white lights. Another grind on platform 3, 102.5 kilos.
And that's a good lift. 3 white lights. She gets to celebrate. She ate it up.
Sarah, our lifter from UVA, taking another 7.5 kilo jump. Her second move, very easy. I expect her third to move just as easy.
Danielle made that third one look good too, as a good 152.5. And our last opener on platform 1, Owen, 255. Solid.
3 white lights. Both Noah and Sarah receive their liftoffs on platforms 2 and 3 respectively. And that is a very easy press by Sarah on platform 3. 3 white lights, she goes 6 for 6. That was a good lift over on platform 2 as well for Noah. And now our biggest bench press of the session, we got Evan Hawk, who took 187.5 kilos as his opening attempt, is upping his bench press to 200 kilos, 440 pounds. And Taya, remind me again, what is the collegiate national record for the 75 kilo men's division?
In 75 kilo men, the collegiate national record is 205.5.
So that is very close to what Evan is attempting here for his second attempt. So presumably he will be attempting or chipping his own American record for his third. Let's see how easy 200 kilos moves.
Yeah, he's going to want to make this look good to take that whole over 5 kilo jump, potentially to chip that record.
Judith Arias on platform 3. 3 white lights with 107.5 kilos. We got 2 big benches on platform 2 and platform 3. Evan Hawk, 200 kilos on 2. Very easy bench press there. Let's see what the referees say. Fortunately, he got multiple calls there from the side referees. Let's see if he decides to still go up and attempt his record or just retake and get 200 kilos on the board.
Yeah, we do have an American record right now on platform 3 with Lily Young attempting that 116 in that women's raw 70 category. She is chipping that 115.5, and she has it.
What an amazing grind by Lily, lifter from Coastal Carolina University.
She's so excited. She's tripping, but she gets to celebrate up there on that bench as an American record holder.
And that will conclude all the bench press attempts on platform 3. We will take a 10-minute break in that platform as the spotters and loaders set up for deadlifts.
strong there from Hannah on platform 4. 3 white lights are rewarded to her for her 3rd lift.
Anali on platform 1 taking the 10-kilo jump, our lifter from Texas.
And I'm not sure if you already said this or not, but Evan has elected to go up to that 206 and chip that record. So end of the flight, pay attention.
Which kind of makes sense. I mean, it was definitely not a strength issue. I guess the bar just kind of went up and down a little bit as he locked out the bench press, which is just a technical issue that he can easily fix. Again, in training, he's pressed much more than that, so that should be no issue for Evan.
Fight from Johnny there on 2, but he got 2 white lights, so good lift.
So now that we've concluded all of our bench pressing in the women's division for the 70-kilo women's raw collegiate division, as it currently stands, we have Sarah, who is currently leading the pack at 475 kilos in the forecasted total, followed by Judith Arias at 455 and Lauren Gomez rounding out the podium at 440. So there's a pretty decent spread between the two, but there's plenty of lifting left to go. Again, these deadlifts are going to be super important to be hit, so that way they don't open up the door for any lifters to sneak into those podium level positions.
Yeah, and fun fact, those top 3 that you just said were actually our top 3 highest qualifiers in that order, so our big dogs are kind of backing up their statuses. And on platforms 3 and 4, obviously both platforms are working on transitioning to that deadlift. Platform 4 is done, and platform 3 is working on that transition to that deadlift. So we'll be back in about 10 minutes there with the deadlift. So stay tuned and don't go too far. Yep. And
2 to 1. That is a good lift.
good lift, yeah. It's a new American record there. He ups his own.
And again, this will be very useful for Evan when it comes down to the deadlifts, as he is currently forecasted in first place. That chip advantage will really come into play as these lifters look to battle it out for position. Currently leading the pack, we have Gavin Lafleur, who leads with a forecasted 687.5 kilos, followed by Evan with a 681 kilo forecasted total. And then rounding out the podium is Johnny with a 660 kilo total. So with Gavin and Evan being so close to each other in the forecasted totals, Evan has a chip advantage, meaning that he can essentially beat Gavin's total by 0.5 of a kilo.
We have started deadlift now on platform 3 for some of those women's 70 kilo athletes.
And again, platform 2 is taking a quick 10-minute break while they set up the platform for deadlifts. Very easy attempt for Helena, coming to us out of Oregon.
Purdue lifter, Stella, 140 opener.
Very good lift by Gabriel on platform 1, 3 white lights.
And good for Leah as well on platform 3, 142 and a half, 3 white lights.
And again, for powerlifting, it's super important to have the mindset of not chasing very high numbers and being overly aggressive in the squat and bench press. Your main priority there should be to build the total and then push in the deadlift, focusing on the lifts that truly matter, which is that final deadlift to push for positioning. So it's really important that these lifters, when they're taking their openers, are selecting openers that will allow them to have room to kind of exceed that and be able to build off of that when it comes down to jockeying for position and pulling for placings.
Yeah, and just a reminder as we move into these deadlifts on platform 3 and platforms 1 and 2, these athletes are fighting for their final placement with these deadlifts. Athletes who maybe aren't in that top 5 contention for a medal, they still want to make sure, even when they're maybe a little bit lower down, they want to be in that top 25 so that they can get a point for their team. Because athletes that score 20 or athletes that place 26 and lower do not get team points. Athletes 25th and higher will. And as we said, every team points matters, so they're really going to want to make sure that they can contribute to that team score.
There's been many instances where national championship titles have been decided by a 1 point differential. So it's super important, including for these athletes outside of the podium, to score as high of a podium level position as they can. Good lift for Caleb on platform 1. He gets 3 white lights. Good lift for Natalie Askin and good lift for Emilio Rodriguez. Dylan Nguyen, lifter from UVA, opening us up with 500 pounds, 227.5 kilos.
We are just steadily working through these openers right now. Not too much stress yet. The athletes are just kind of trying to put some numbers on the board, get themselves a good lift in.
We see the chief referee has asked Dylan to move his socks up. Again, these lifters are required to wear socks that go below the top, the bottom of the kneecap. So just as a safety precaution in case these lifters bleed on the bar. And that opening attempt deadlift is no issue for Dylan as he gets 3 white lights.
No issue for Zariah either. Platform 3, 3 white lights at 157.5.
Final 3 opening deadlifts on platform 3. Tristan Bangs, 160 kilos.
And a good lift for Lucas on platform 1, 2-1.
Got a red card infraction from the center referee, which can mean failure to lock out the shoulders, meaning shoulders back, or his knees were soft. So that is just a card that is indicated that the lifter was not fully locked out in the deadlift.
Yeah, and then Hunter here is going to step up and do this 235 on deadlift for his opener. Should be an easy weight for him.
Lifter coming out to us from Concordia. It's a good lift for Carey.
No lift on 1, the 2-1 at the top. Little bit of lockout, just hesitation at the top.
Again, we'll see it sometimes here where sometimes the weight moves so fast that the lifters fail to catch it, and it just creates a bit of a bobble, causing them to miss the lift.
Yeah,
so sometimes you just need a little bit more weight on the bar.
I think he had it at the top and kind of was expecting that judge to give him that down command, and that judge just made him wait an extra second, so he kind of leaned forward a little bit, waiting for that command.
Good second attempt for Mackenzie there on platform 3, 3 white lights. Vin Ho with a successful 235 kilo opener. See a bit of a deliberation between the technical controller and the chief referee. Just ensuring that the proper lifter is coming out to take the lift.
Oh, I think maybe he looked like he had some tape on his hand. I would wonder if he has to take that over to the jury table and get that approved.
Yeah, so that is something in the rule book that a lifter is allowed to wear tape around the thumbs during deadlift, but it needs to be approved by the jury, which I believe Rudy is doing right now. Looks to be approved. He's got his 45 seconds to hit his attempt. Plenty of time for him. And again, these barbells are pretty tough with knurling, so sometimes it does cut you up in the hands, so tape might be necessary, especially when you're performing. As we see here, Rudy's doing a double overhand hook grip pull.
He's got that nice, it's a really high belt position when he stands up. almost up to the armpits there with the belt.
Seems to work out well for him, though, as he gets 3 white lights on his opener.
Yeah. Where the athletes put the belt is mostly just a comfort thing for a lot of them. A lot of them are going to kind of put it in the center just to where they get the most coverage from it and the maximal effect.
And if you've been following along in the competition, you see that a lot of lifters wear different types of belts. There's different sizes, 10 millimeter, 13 millimeter, lever, prong. There's just so many variations out there that just come down to lifter preference. And ladies and gentlemen, if you are joining us here on Platform 1 and 2 live stream, we are getting ready to start Platform 2 deadlifts. We have Justin, who will kick us off with 215 kilos in the men's raw 75 kilo collegiate division. Justin coming to us from the University of South Carolina.
We are on our second attempts over on platform 3. We're going to see Jayla come out with 155. She had a very strong 145. I don't expect this to be a problem for her. I think she should get a good clean pull on it.
We see Winston grabbing his hamstring glue on his way out. Who knows if he might have started cramping, might have pulled something there, but these are only second attempt deadlifts. Hopefully he's still able to come back out and hit something for his third.
And another good pull for Jayla, as expected.
Interesting strategy on platform 3. Sophie missed 147.5 kilos, but still went up 10 kilos to 157. Let's see how that plays out for her here.
She got it up. A little interesting at the top. I think that's why she got that one red light, but she gets a good lift with 2 to 1.
So now we got our 2 platforms of 75 kilo lifters lifting on platform 1, platform 2. So we're going to start seeing the action unfold as we progress and start seeing these positions begin to change.
Maxine, 12.5 kilo jump. A little bit bigger than some of the other people. A lot of people like to take those 10s, but makes it easy work. And
she hits the nay-nay as she walks out the platform with the 3 white light lift.
Well, you know what? Well earned.
That's how you know it's a collegiate meet. You got lifters hitting the nay-nay. Bit of a wide grip there for Zaria on platform 2. Doesn't phase her. She is good lift. 3 white lights.
Misha is going to open with a 225 on platform 2. Light work for Caleb on platform 1 with that 227.5.
Good lift for Misha as well on platform 2, 225.
platform 3, we just have those 3 second attempt deadlifts left for this flight, and then we'll move straight into their thirds. Hunter made the 235 look easy last time. Anticipated that call a little bit too early, so we'll see if he can nail it this time. I think he's got this.
It's very interesting when we have
And
divisions.
Made it look very nice. 3 white lights for him.
I was saying it was very interesting when we have divisions as deep as these, because we have lifts that are so close to one another that a missed attempt can really set you back. And on the other hand, a really big jump and a hit attempt can really put you above a few placings. So it's really imperative for these lifters to be successful in their attempts. Good lift for Emilio. Zane, our lifter from the University of Toledo, makes easy work out of 230 kilos. Gets 3 white lights there. Looks like Dylan got a switch of socks to some A7s. Shout out A7. I believe he now has socks that are long enough and now won't get anything from the chief referee. Let's see how 240 moves. He took a 12.5 kilo jump.
Mackenzie Montoya is going to start us off on our 3rd deadlifts on platform 3.
That was a good lift there on platform 1.
Strong for Mackenzie. 3 white lights.
We got the Big Ten lifting on platforms 1 and 2. Lucas from Purdue, Salt, Michigan. Both get 3 white lights in their respective attempts.
155, 3rd attempt for Lydia.
Lydia rocking the cool shades as she takes 155 as the final deadlift.
Yeah, I think they gave her those extra 7.5 kilos from that last one that she needed.
It doesn't get anything better than that.
Worth saying that she just finished 9 for 9 on the day, I believe.
That
It's
is
a very hard thing to do.
Yeah, that is very impressive thing to accomplish here at the national championship. Again, as we were talking about during the bench and squats, these referees are national level referees, so this is some very tough judging going on here.
Not off the floor today for Leah, that 157.
Rudy Perez, who had to tape his thumbs on his opening deadlift, was unable to get his 2nd attempt deadlift. Let's see if that might have been an issue with the thumbs and if he comes back to take it on his 3rd.
Steady 10 kilo jump after her first 10 kilo jump for Stella.
This is for a 9 for 9 day for Stella. Let's see if she can fight that sticking point.
Pull. She gets past it.
Let's see what the referees say. 3 white lights, that is a good lift. I thought there might have been some up and down or something like that, but no, I stand corrected.
Clean lift.
Austin Balagao making great work out of 240 kilos. He gets 3 white lights there. Chase going up 12.5 kilos to 255. Unfortunately slips out of his hand. Takes a look at his thumbs. Maybe it might have been a grip issue, something he can probably fix going into the thirds.
Sophie on platform 3, she got it up. Maybe a little bit of ramping, but she does get that 2-to-1 good lift, so.
I believe that was ramping call since she did get a blue card, so that might, that's what the blue card is, just supporting on the thighs. Bit of a technical thing she can easily fix.
Jayla, another athlete who took 2 10-kilo jumps. Her last one looked good. Got it to the top.
Oh, and unfortunately she gets up and down call from the 2 side referees.
Yeah, and it really was just on that final lockout there.
Again, there is a bit of a difference between the bar settling at the top and the bar physically coming back down and then back up. So that is a discrepancy between, that is a difference between the wording in the rule book. Very difficult to catch, but the 2 side referees were able to catch it there.
Oh,
Let's go, Natalie.
good. Good job, Natalie.
3 white lights for Natalie. She gets 170 on the board
And
for
the
her.
sigh of relief ending that day with a good lift. She went 8 for 9 on the day, so that's a very good job as well.
Good opener for Amir on platform 2, 265 kilos.
So he kind of looked around at the top, showing
Yeah.
off a little.
Gets those 3 whites.
Excellent from Zariah. Jogs off. 3 white lights belong to her.
Good effort there for Caleb Goldman. He gets 3 whites. Maxine on platform 3 looking to go on 3-plate date here with 175 kilos on the bar. Let's go, Maxine.
Come
Lock it out.
on.
Unfortunately, I don't think it won't be there. But that was a great fight. She just got in that sticking point and was unable to push past that.
Yeah, she held it there for a long time. It was an excellent effort. Just couldn't get the lockout play, unfortunately.
Again, it just goes to show how much these lifters are pushing themselves to that very limit.
Yeah, you knew she wanted it based on how long she was able to hold it for, just that determination to keep it up there. It's not easy to hold it at that point either.
It really isn't, no. I mean, what incredible grip strength she has, too, to be able to hold the bar for that long. Steven, 12.5 kilo jump on platform 1. Lifter from West Point gets that 3 white lights.
Excellent for Kalia to fight through that top.
3 white lights. High fives, Gino. That is a good day for her.
Yeah.
We are now taking the bar up to over 400 pounds over on platform 3. Tristan Bangs kicks us off with 182.5, taking a 7.5 kilo jump. Let's go, Tristan.
Unfortunately,
it won't
no.
be there. Josh Schrock, good attempt with 245.
Sometimes that bar can just settle a little bit into the ground and just doesn't come up.
That looked like a good attempt for Carrie. Let's see what the referees say. 413 pounds. Waiting on those lights. 3 white lights. That is a fantastic lift.
Yeah. Built up the suspense a little bit waiting for those lights. I'm sure she felt like she stood there for 10 minutes, but got it. We have Mary Ann going for 195. Incredible deadlifter.
She's fighting. Come on, Marianne.
Come on.
Unfortunately, it will not be there today. We saw that earlier in the flight. Same sticking point for some of these conventional pullers.
Yeah, that top is brutal in that conventional position.
So Marianne closed out the Flight C deadlifting for Platform 3. We're now moving along to our opening deadlifts for Flight D. These are our last remaining women competing in the 70 kilo division.
Yeah, and we just saw Lily Young. She was our last bench presser when she set that American bench record, and she's going to open us up on deadlift here.
Again, we got a final flight of deadlifts for the women's division. And as a reminder, we have Sarah currently leading in first place, followed by Judith, Lauren, and then Madison and Victoria rounding out the 4th and 5th positions respectively. And then we have a lot of lifters who are sitting just outside the 5th level position. So as we progress into these deadlifts, it'll be very interesting to see how these lifters play their attempts and start jockeying for position. It'll be very interesting to see how this plays out. Hunter Powers taking his 3rd and final deadlift, a 25 kilo jump here for Hunter on platform 1.
Come on. Pull.
And you think that a 25 kilo jump might have been too much, but Hunter looked like he had a really good fighting chance at that. He might have been good for 260 or 262.5.
Yeah, and it might just be virtue of the fact that they had missed that first one and had to make that big jump. If they had been able to split that in half into 12 and 12,
yeah, I mean,
probably could have gotten that if he built up to it.
Again, it does go to show how a missed attempt, especially in the opener, can impact your play. 260 was probably his planned 3rd attempt and just went for it on the 3rd. And Dante from Pitt Powerlifting unfortunately had the bar slip out of his hands on that final moment before receiving the down command. Good lift for Alyssa there on platform 3. Let's go, Vin. He's fighting that deadlift. Looks to be stuck there at the knees. Ethan Tran, unfortunately, a missed lift there on his second attempt deadlift. Looked to be probably a positioning issue, something he can likely correct going into the third.
Easy opener for Jasmine.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, will conclude the lifting on platform 1.
Yeah, so now we just have lifters left to deadlift on platform 2 and platform 3. We do have a ways to go yet on platform 2, still being in that first flight of the session on their deadlifts, so plenty more lifting to see here. Carolyn, 157.5 for her opener. Next to her on the other platform is Micah, 267 for his second. Yeah, that was a strong pull. See those muscles.
Micah got stuck a little bit there at the quads, locking out the deadlift, but still successful and gets 3 white lights. Several of these lifters are sitting just outside the top 5 positions on platform 2, but over on platform 3, a lot of these girls are the ones who are battling for those top positions, since this is the final flight on that platform.
Judith up next, 165 for an opener. I anticipate with this being that top platform that all of these girls should and will get their openers probably.
Judith takes her time finding that position for deadlifts.
She is forecasted second, but there are a couple people right after her in terms of the lineup that maybe could pass her because they have a little bit of a bigger deadlift. So if they take a bigger jump to potentially that second or third lift than she does.
And we got Justin kicking us off on our final deadlifts for the flight C on platform 2, 237.5 kilos. This will be 523 pounds.
Victoria opening with a nice 170. Very, very nice opening weight.
Very tough grind here for Ozzy on platform 2. Unfortunately, it will not be there on the day. Still salutes the crowd and still thanks them for coming out and supporting. And over on platform 3, Victoria is successful with her opening deadlift, gets it on the board, and makes it move easily.
And next up, we're going to have Nadia, who is currently in 15th place, but has the second highest deadlift opener.
Again, that's one of the luxuries of having a very high deadlift opener. You get to see what your competitors have already done and then gauge your attempts based off of their attempts. So that's one of the advantages of being what we would call a deadlift specialist, or just a very high deadlifter in that regard. That is an easy opener for Nadia. 3 white lights. All these ladies successful thus far on these openers with 1 lift left to go for Sarah. Sarah, our lifter out of UVA. Bit of a wide grip there for Sarah. But that seems to be of no issue as she locks out 187.5 kilos.
Yeah, opening with that over 400.
And again, all these ladies have been successful in their deadlifts, which really goes to show how much of a smart and wise attempt selection these coaches have been putting in for their lifters. Again, the real game of chess doesn't start until the 3rd deadlift hit. So it really is about making these second attempts move as best as possible in order to see how much you have left in the tank. Ethan Tran reattempting 257.5 kilos. Let's see if he gets it on his 3rd attempt. Fortunately, not there today on deads.
Yeah, he was trying to utilize that just really close grip on the bar right there, but that part of the bar doesn't have the knurling on it, so sometimes it can be harder to hold on to with a good grip.
We'll see how much that affects the Davenport team. I know Davenport is one of these teams that has a high representation here at Collegiate Nationals. Lily Young up next at 155, taking a 17.5 kilo jump, making easy work out of that.
Yeah.
Not an issue for her. Josh on 2 with a 15 kilo jump from 245 to 260.
And Alyssa taking a 10, going to 160.
Josh is successful with that, and with that, he goes 9 for 9 at Collegiate Nationals. 2-1, that is a good lift for him.
Congratulations.
What a way to end the day. Now, a very important lift coming up on platform 2. Eric Pham needs to hit this deadlift in order to stay in the meet and post a total. He attempted his opening pull with 220 kilos and went up 40 kilos to 260.
Wow. Big jump.
Let's see how much of that energy we can get to help Eric get
Eric.
this pull up. Let's go, Eric. You need this to stay in the meet. Let's go, Eric. And unfortunately, it is not there. And I kind of wonder whether this might have been a mistake from the coaching staff, taking an attempt or putting in an improper attempt, because going from 220 to 260 seems like such a crazy attempt, such a crazy jump to take between attempts. I mean, we've seen it where coaches accidentally hand in the wrong attempt sheets to the scoring table staff, so you wonder whether or not that might have been the case here in the case for Eric.
Yeah, the only people that we've seen take jumps near that big today were individuals in the equipped category earlier who opened raw and then did their second lift with their equipment.
Very easy second for Carolyn Cook on 3. And Brandon, fortunately from Penn State University, will not be successful with that attempt.
Marla.
Lifter out of Davenport.
Trying to work her way towards the top 10, possibly after this, maybe with the third deadlift. Which makes that look good. Good 15-kilo jump for her.
Sal Gutierrez up next here, 265 for his final deadlift. He grinds it up, gets past the knees, locks it out, and he gets that down command. Let's see what the referees say. 2-1, that is a good lift. Barely edges it out there, and is successful.
Jennifer Swift, 172.5.
And again, no misses so far on platform 3. All these ladies are hitting. That is an impressive session of lifting here going on flight D for platform 3.
Yeah, these lifters are not going to give up any kilos to their competition. They want to finish in the top of those rankings.
Again, with a spread of this close within the top 5, it really is a make or break attempt for a lot of these lifters. 10-kilo jump for Judith Arias, lifter out of Texas. Judith is currently forecasted in second, looking to extend that lead. Good attempt for her there.
Yeah.
And this is where it gets interesting. As we see these lifters putting in their third attempts at deadlifts, we see where they start lining up in the forecasted placings. After every lifter takes their second, we'll see how these placings are shaping up and start seeing that chess battle that comes into play when it comes to these third attempt deadlift changes.
Tristan pulling a 275. Very strong third attempt.
And that is 606 pounds for Tristan, 3 white lights. We hear the middling crowd roaring for Madison, who's successful in her second attempt deadlift. Lauren Gomez, our lifter, forecasted in third, taking a 10-kilo jump to 180. And Eli on 2, looking to break past 600 with 611 pounds.
Strong for Lauren.
And unfortunately for Eli, it just slipped out of his hands at the top. Very frustrating lift there, but he got it up easy, but it just slipped out of his hands. Very unfortunate lift there. Micah coming up next at 280 kilos, 617 pounds.
Victoria trying to pull over 400 pounds, 182.5.
This will be our second lifter breaking past the 400-pound barrier in this flight.
Strong, fast deadlift.
She almost lost a bit of her balance based on how fast it moved, but that seems to be no issue for her.
She received that good lift, 2-1.
And now this is our final lift over on platform 2 for our flight C lifters. Amir is taking the 282.5 kilo deadlift. This is 622 pounds. As a reminder, these are 165-pound lifters deadlifting over 600 pounds.
And she really has to fight for that. Excellent effort for that 190, and she gets 3 white lights for that.
As we mentioned, Nadia is one of those lifters that it started off in the bottom of the forecasted placings, but as she's making her attempt, she took a 15-kilo jump. She's now moving up these rankings, which is very impressive and goes to show how much of a difference these made attempts can be. And to this moment, no single miss has occurred on platform 3. Let's see if Sarah can close out our second attempt flight. And she makes that move easy.
Looks over at her coach or teammate on the side, went at the top.
UVA did not come here to play.
And we will move to the third attempts there and see what kind of attempt changes a couple of these ladies might make trying to move up in that medal position.
We're starting our opening deadlifts on Flight D for Platform 2, and we got Rito Flores, who just took a token 75-kilo deadlift. Who knows, he might have hurt himself a bit on warm-ups, or as starting off the meet, he took a 70-kilo squat opener, so just came in for a bench press and posted a total. All eyes over on Platform 3 as we start our third attempt deadlifts.
Jalissa, 165, a 10-kilo jump. She took a 12.5 last time. Excellent deadlift.
And as we look at the standings at the conclusion of second attempt deadlifts for Platform 3, we have Sarah, who currently leads the pack at 495 kilos, followed by Judith Arias with a decent gap at a forecasted 467.5 kilos. But not to be outdone, Lauren Gomez is just on her tail at 465 kilos. And then rounding out that podium, we have Victoria Ho with 457.5 and Madison Garcia at 455. So very tight race here between second and fifth.
Oh my. Fabulous deadlift. Excellent work. 3 white lights for her.
And Alyssa picks up an additional 10 kilos to her total. What an amazing attempt there.
And you note on the board in the back that there is an attempt change in progress. We'll have to wait and see who that is for.
As a reminder, ladies and gentlemen, you are allowed to change your second deadlift up to 2 times. However, you cannot lower your attempt from what's already on the bar. So there is an attempt change in progress on Platform 3. So the bar is currently not loaded for anybody. It appears that Carolyn Cook is the current lifter, who is supposed to be lifting 170 kilos after that attempt change.
Another good deadlift on platform 3.
And it appears that in the women's 70 kilo raw collegiate division, Sarah is comfortably in that lead as she leads with a 27.5 kilo spread with Judith, who is in second.
Yeah, and Lily here is going to go 170, trying to get into that top 10.
15 kilo jump, and she locks it out, gets that down command. 3 white lights, that is a good lift.
Jasmine taking another 10 kilo jump. She took one between her first and her second lift. She's going to try and lift this 170. Big number. Come on, Jasmine. Fighting. And unfortunately, Jasmine ends that deadlift streak on platform 3 and is the first miss of the flight. Excellent work, though, to the ladies in that flight, because I don't think I've ever seen that many made deadlifts in a row.
Absolutely. And just moving over to platform 2 real quick, just to keep up with the action, we have Evan Dressel up here taking his 240 kilos as his opening attempt. Evan Dressel is currently forecasted in 4th place after this attempt. And to recap the men's division as they take their opening deadlifts, Evan Hawk leads the pack, followed by Gavin Lafleur, Johnny Mukuna, Evan Dressel, and Jason Zong. Plenty of lifting left to go on platform 2, so we'll be back after these ladies conclude their 3rd attempt deadlifts. We'll see how these men are doing as they finish rounding out their openers and keep up with the action. It appears Judith is just taking a 2.5 kilo jump just to extend her 2nd place lead, so she is not threatening Sarah. It looks to be that Sarah is your women's raw collegiate 70 kilo champion, but there's still a lot of deadlifting left to go.
Unfortunately, that 175 was just the most she had today, and the 177 was just a leap too far. Moving all the way up to 180, Jennifer, last deadlift of the day for her.
This won't affect her placing. It'll just further extend her total. She's currently sitting in 6th.
Yeah, so she'll look to take that 6th place finish, be really proud of herself for that finish, and come back next year and maybe sneak into that medal stand. 182.5, 400-pound deadlift pull for Marla. She's trying to pull into, it looks like 11th from 14th to 11th, so jump up a couple spots.
Again, very critical for those milestone numbers. She's hitting 400-pound deadlift here. She's fighting, gets past those knees. Let's see if she can continue fighting past the lockout. Unfortunately, will not be there today.
Lauren Gomez, currently in third, could get bumped down to fourth.
Again, Lauren just taking a 5-kilo jump, as mentioned by Taya. She is currently sitting in third place, just looking to extend that lead, making it harder for her competitors to bump her off that podium level position. If successful with this, that'll put her at a 455 kilo total. She gets that down command.
And we do have another attempt change in progress.
We got 4 remaining deadlifts here in this session for platform 3. And as we see here, we got an attempt change in progress, so now the spotters and loaders have to load the weight displayed on the board.
And it looks like that change was for Madison Garcia. She went from 187 to 192 and a half.
Again, Midland lifter here, so we hear the crowd rumbling as the entire Midland crew is behind her. She is successful with that 15-kilo jump.
Yeah. 192 and a half, successful for her, so good attempt change there.
So as it stands with that pull, that pulled Madison into provisional third. There is Victoria, who will be going later, who will be pulling to bump her off that position. But as it stands, Sarah is in first, Judith in second, and Madison managed to pull herself into third provisionally.
Now we have Nadia trying to go 195 to pull into the top 10, into ninth place. Ninth place worth extra team points.
And unfortunately, that'll be a no lift for Nadia.
No lift for Nadia. And we have Victoria here attempting to pull from 5th to 3rd, trying to get herself that All-American status. She does already have a medal locked up because the only person after her is already ahead of her in the rankings. So this is just for that All-American and that 3rd place.
Second to final pull, and this is the last pull for a placement. Sarah is the last lifter to go. But Victoria Ho is looking again to pull herself from 5th to 3rd, sneak herself into the podium, and bump Madison Garcia off of the podium.
Huge 200 kilos loaded on this bar right now. Monumental task.
Can UTSA pull through? Let's go, Victoria.
Gonna set up.
It's coming up, it's coming up, it's coming up. She locks it out, gets that down command, and let's see what the referees say.
Yes.
2-1, that is a good lift for Victoria, and she is now in 3rd place. Bumped out Madison. And just to do a little victory lap, Sarah is looking to bump up her 3rd attempt by 7.5 kilos, 207.5 as her final lift, looking to go 9 for 9 and win the overall women's raw collegiate 70-kilo division.
Can she pull 207.5 kilos? She can.
She is successful, gets 3 white lights, 9 for 9. What more could you ask for?
And she gets to have a little victory dance.
Yeah, and so, ladies and gentlemen, that concludes the Women's Raw Collegiate 70 kilo division. We got Sarah Michalich, who won, representing the University of Virginia with a 483 kilos total, walked away with a bench press national record at 125.5. We got second place, who is Judith Arias, who totaled 465 kilos, followed by Victoria Ho, who in third place totaled 457.5 kilos, Madison Garcia in fourth, and Lauren Gomez in fifth, rounding out that medal placement.
Yeah, and so that will conclude the lifting for the day on platforms 3. Platform 4 is already, or for this session on platforms 3, platform 4 is already finished. Both platforms will return for that session 3 tonight. Session 3 will feature those female raw athletes for 75, 82.5, and also those same classes for the female equipped categories. So check back in then.
And now as you transition over to platform 2, we still got lifting going on. We got our men's 75 kilo